All right, ladies and gents, what's going on? And what a week, I would say. If you're a person that works, of course, you can say what a week. I mean, pretty much, if you're sitting around not having a job and you still have a negatively exciting week, that's pretty much your fault. So there's this word called accountability, which makes it impossible. So to answer my own question in my in the title of this video, no, I do not think this type of female exists. I don't. I don't think it's possible. By nature, I don't think it's possible. By societal standard, I don't think it's possible. And by the level of standard, I don't think it's possible. So I mean, say what you want, but that's what it is for me. So I'm not saying that you're not a person that's not capable of taking care of yourself, but that doesn't make you an alpha. That just means that you can take care of yourself. Period. So that's about it. As far as let's go ahead and get this question answered now. Let's have an interesting discussion about this. Now, this is not to per se target black women like y'all think we do over here in the manosphere, which I'm starting to give less and less of a damn about, quite frankly, because if that's something that I know I'm not doing, then I should not be worried about it. I'm only more so address the shit as far as it being slander or you know mental food for bitches. That's the kind of thing I like to push back against. So here's the thing. We gonna do this little alpha thing at first. Like I tell the guys, okay, for females who want to claim that they're alpha, and through these two examples that I have on the screen here, still, you have a level of success there, on both sides. But due to the fragilities that these women often display, I mean, as much as they try as they might, they're still failing at it. I mean, if you really want to think about it, they're not succeeding. You can cheer them on and virtue signal just because of gender and race all you want, but still, they're not good examples. I mean, I don't care if she did make Snoop Dogg cry. It's nah, like, and also for you ladies that do this kind of thing, because I think this is probably where the breakdown started to happen. She probably didn't tell Will that she was going to go all the way bald. I mean, this is just speculation on my part. I may not know what the fuck I'm talking about. I have no proof of this, but maybe she when she went bald, Will probably didn't like it. Maybe he said I like women with hair or something like that. If maybe he didn't care. Maybe it was some other shit like I don't know, screwing August Alsina. And people argue this bullshit like, well, he was cheating too. I mean, but the agreement is for it to not go public and humiliate somebody in particular. That's what it is. That was a code violation. That's where all that shit came from. And then that horrible excuse. It was an entanglement. But we already been through all of that. We already been through all of that. Plus, a lot of this bullshit that we're going to discuss tonight. This really comes from the enabling of the two men that are on the screen. I mean, I get it. I get it. It wouldn't be. It wouldn't. Let me put it to you like this. However you object to the attitude, it wouldn't be a them without us. Period. It wouldn't be a one woman thinking that she just being a bitch makes her an alpha or some shit like that. It wouldn't be that if it wasn't the enabling ass simp brother. You got to understand it. It's kind of like yin and yang. It's kind of like the balance of the universe. It has to be some kind of I don't know, some catalyst to this bullshit. If y'all want to start saying shit like that starts with a man, and if you want to put it in that context, yeah, that sounds like it makes sense. Well, I mean, you can disagree, but the fact that the reason why a lot of these brothers are frustrated and a lot of these brothers talk about this shit over and over again is because there's a lot more men that enable the shit to happen in the first motherfucking place. Like respect goes both ways. You don't get to disrespect me, male or female, and female is in the equation of that shit. You know, to me, y'all, these women will do this and that, bitch, and all this other shit, and they think that they have to be disrespectful to pull that off. Well, when you are a bitch, you claim to be that bitch. When you run into an asshole, just expect the unexpected. It ain't that he hates women. It's just that, you know what? I do just like I do a male with words. Words can't possibly hurt you. Words present no physical intimidation unless there's physical intimidation that goes with it. Other thing is words. I mean, can't do things like make threats, like make verbal threats. That doesn't make any sense. Or I would say just not focusing on that person, but start to disrespect family members like wives, husbands, grandmas, kids. Shit like that. See, these old that bitch, that person that called this alpha female that calls themselves that bitch, they'll go that far. They'll go that far. Then brothers just supposed to brush it off, which in turn is supposed to be the view of the alpha in within guys. The ability to not let these alpha bitches get to them, or they think they're an alpha or whatever. So I've pretty much already given my answer already. I said no, they don't exist, and they don't exist because of frailties. I mean, they can be a great help and a great assist. They can be the nurturers of our children. Yeah, of course. And speaking of nurturing of the children, these two examples. Oh shit! I mean, I don't know if I want to get into the kids. I might let somebody else do that. But it's just Jesus. It is like the one that like making the most sense is the little baby. So let me hold up. Let me take care of something real quick. But yeah, just look. I don't feel like number one, and I'm saying the word feel for she. Like I don't I don't believe that if you can't protect yourself at least a little bit, or present the R of protect being able to protect yourself, not being totally helpless or not defaulting to helplessness when you are held accountable. Now, remember that accountability. That word is very important in being an alpha. That's the other A word. Those two A's, um, go together. When you hear AA, you think of African American. Alpha accountability, accountability alpha. And I pretty much already stated in another broadcast that alphas and betas only exist in the animal kingdom. For real, for real. But I'm speaking in the context of something that is a narrative that is slowly gaining momentum. And I'm not trying to say that, I'm not trying to per se scare BWs in particular into submission. I'm not trying to do that. What I do is I give the perspective of how this looks to a black man. And I'm just saying it doesn't look very good. Nobody wants to deal with a fool. And bitch would fall under fool. Nigga would fall under fool. You really think about that. You want to avoid people who are too foolish in their ways. Cause that will have a tendency to drag you down as real, especially people calling themselves alphas because it's such misdirection. Let me give an example of an alpha. Someone who feels like that they're a new phase starts with shaving their fucking head. What is up with shaving your head bald? Now, some women look good bald. Some women do. They do. They do. I'm not saying all. But just to stick it with the characterization, you had Sanaa Lathan do it. What's her situation? I think you had Nia Long do it at one time. What's her situation? Um, hmm, Tamar Braxton. Tamar Braxton did it. And I'm not saying it doesn't look good on some women. What I'm saying is it seems to be some kind of mental break somewhere. Now, So let's. I will try to be careful when referring to women who are bald, but this one in particular, she is a special character. um, the other one, I guess, I don't know. I don't know if you're alpha, you shouldn't have to do like every other, you know, just be a complete smart ass. Like going to the club. I would say the. Let me see. I'm sorry. I was trying to read something and talk at the same time. Got to get better with multitasking. But yeah, yes. Okay, as far as Gabby goes, the spending $20,000 in the strip club every time you go. Okay, let's say that if you're in charge, if like in their home, like admittedly, Dwayne Wade says that she leads, so she's basically the man of the house. Okay, so the man of the house, like I do understand that you have pro athletes who splurge like this behind their wives' backs, but let's not use this as a straw. Let's not use this as a straw man. So she's doing what she called her perception of a man. But what do we think of this when men do this? If a man was going in and spending all this money at the strip club, he'd be seen as a piece of crap. He'd be like, "Go home to your wife." So it's okay that she does it. So I guess so. I mean, we understand. We understand. But it's like 20,000, and then she does this as a little alphabet move. I said, "Damn." She's really trying to, I guess, I don't know, prove that she's an alpha by giving women 20, 30,000, 20,000 a night, and then admitting to being bi, which is, according to a lot of us, that's sort of a lot of black men's dreams. Because just like with the stereotypes, and I could tell y'all each one of the stereotypes, but I could do that one for another broadcast. But the stereotype is if she had some bisexual experience, you might end up in a threesome. And weird Hollywood types have always proven to have done that kind of thing over and over and over again. Ti and Tiny got in trouble for it. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Gabrielle Union is bringing back strippers to her house for her and Dwayne to have at it with. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about all of this stuff going public, like uh, Jada going public and saying I can't love Will because I haven't learned how to love myself. It's like, why are you saying shit like that at your age in public about a husband that has supported you publicly throughout the years? See, this is what people don't understand about Will Smith. Will Smith is going hard for his family. Seriously, putting his kids in films, giving them opportunities, teaching them about the music industry. I mean, seriously, for Jaden and Willow, Will has done a lot for them. That's a lot of that's what a lot of people don't understand and recognize. The maybe it's like everyone has called those kids weird. Everyone has called Jaden and Willow weird. Everyone has. And the and what they and what you try to do is sometimes y'all deflect away from that. I'm just saying. So it is the whole thing is just crazy. Like saying that she can't love herself, and then Will. Like, let me talk about Will for a second, because Will is not completely innocent in all of this. Will then turns around and says that makes a public statement saying that he really wanted a harem of women, and he wanted Halle Berry to be a part of that harem. Now, based on the trouble that Will is experiencing now, could he have handled a harem of women? I mean, he probably had them wild nights, like, even in his rap career, as the Fresh Prince. He's probably had a few wild nights, I would say. And for him to be a successful movie star, he's probably had a few wild nights too. So let's just say that he is capable of having a harem as far as financially, but the way he getting handled in public right now, it doesn't reflect it that way. So I was believe that Will said that to be petty toward his wife, saying that other shit. Tit for tat ain't healthy at all. This is a couple. Like, basically, Will and Jada are having a couple spat in public, and that's not ever good. Like, Will needs to go ahead and break his code and divorce her. But I'm not here to tell people what to do with their relationship. But it's looking pretty bad from the public view. And for people who sit there and say this shit like, well, what you worried about it for? That's their business. That's their business. They made it public. I see that statement made quite a bit as far as social media goes. Y'all all in them people business. Let them be happy. Let them be great. They put it out there for the public eye to see. So you're allowed to have an opinion on it whether people like it or not. Shoot, especially if you embarrass yourselves, because see, black men understand that. Black men understand if we humiliate ourselves, that there is a price to pay for that, and Will is paying that price right now. Period. It's one of those things like, if you nip shit in the bud early or earlier, like, when Will said that Jada was cursing around him, and he said he smacked her in the back of the head. I believe it was more of a love tap. It wasn't no Ike Turner shit or no Ray Rice shit. But he smacked her in the back of the head, and he took her to the side and said, "Look, if you're gonna curse, we can break this up right now." That kind of deal. He nipped that in the bud, but it seems as if he didn't nip other things in the bud. And see, that's what we falter as men. We fail the shit test. We don't call it out right then and there. And then it just, this shit just piles on top of shit, just piles on top of shit, piles on top of shit, until it's just like it turns from a brush fire to a forest fire. The shit is out of control. But see, here's the thing. We've been doing that as a collective of men for decades. And I'm not, and like I said, not, look, disclaimer right now. You do not have to use violence. Don't use violence. You do not have to hit women. This is not what I'm talking about here. What I am speaking of is despite the fact that your woman can be flippant with you and very disrespectful, you have still given her every allowance as if she is being totally nice to you. That she totally respects you. You treat the ones you respect and the ones you disrespect the same, because you believe, and I'm talking to the brothers right now, you believe that's what a man is supposed to do. A man stands on his own 2 feet and he commands respect. Doesn't mean he has to be intimidating, but you can be ruthless with that shit. Don't give your all to each and every one that bats their eyes at you. If she's the one, she's the one. I can't tell you otherwise. But hey, when you as a man decide that she's the one, like these two gentlemen, like Dwayne Wade with the robotic smile in the background, when you decide that, because see, these are two married couples. I'm a part of a married couple. So I had to decide that she was the one. So we are, as black men, responsible for what we allow. You can shake your fists, you can be like, why, you can do all that shit all day. But if you're not, if your execution is sloppy, man, then you failing. One thing is, yes, as the how do I say this? As men, we have to control our emotions. As black men, especially, because we are labeled. We are labeled, and I'm saying that as a cautionary tale, not as something that's cautionary. I'm not saying that because I'm not saying that because I'm trying to police how you behave in public. Because if we a black man, if we're gonna sit up here and talk about ratchetness, we need to watch our own behavior. Actually, we need to conduct ourselves as civil. So that's why you'll never hear me. I'll say bitch and I'll say nigga, but I'll say that in the context of the narrative that is being presented with the topic. You know, if a female comes up to the platform to speak, if she's acting like a bitch, then maybe. I did call a female a bitch up here one time, but I think she kind of liked that shit. She was one of those types. So I mean, it went over. It went over. I'll say that it didn't melt down into a disrespect fest. But what I'm trying to just say at the end of the day is, you don't have to be ratchet too. If I could put alpha in a context, I could put alpha in a man. And it's usually what some of these clowns out here say. But the one thing that they're right about is that a man takes care of his business. As long as you're doing that, at the end of the day, everything should be okay for you and you alone. I have, just like myself, I have to make sure everything is okay for myself. But I have a child to involve and I have a wife to consider. So hey, things take on a different meaning with me. Some of you guys out there, you are baby daddies. Some of you are single with no kids. So you still, as a man, you're caught up in a situation to where you have to do what you have to do. Period. And one of those things is taking accountability. And it's something that has to be forced on a black man. It doesn't, because we know that we are accountable. We know. We know that we are accountable. So, if you are a group of people, a particular group of people that feels like that you have to point the finger elsewhere, you have to blame everybody else for your problems, and you can't take any kind of accountability, that's not very alpha. Every one of your problems, you just blame the men or you deflect the black men. How can I love Will? Because I can't love myself. Just take accountability for how you feel. That wasn't the truth. Maybe a little bit. It just seems like there's too much flakiness on their part, and unfortunately, you have a large majority of BWs that look up to these two. A large majority, and it be on some sisterhood shit. It's on some gender shit. It's on some race and gender shit. I mean, there's a large majority. I understand as a man that I have to watch my influences. I don't base my influences on gender. So I don't think every man is an alpha. I don't think every man is correct. I don't think every man can lack accountability. I will always tell men, because of the state of being that you're in as far as the law is concerned, that you have to do the smart thing, because you are not a one man government. You are not. You are not a one man army. You're not a one man anything. Oh well. Yes, you are. You're one man. That's the basic part. When you strip back everything, you're one man. So you have to follow the laws of the land or you will face the consequences. Period. So we have to move kind of smart and kind of careful. And that's okay, because as long as you are constantly doing the right thing, you can avoid trouble. You can avoid all that bullshit. Sometimes it just finds you, depending on what part of town you end up in. It ain't just about these cops out here. It's about some of the us too. There are some men that weren't raised worth of shit. Whether they're from a single, I ain't gonna do the both, logic, because I mean I've seen it enough. They don't have a strong parental influence. I would say that. So we got all that shit to worry about. I say black men, I know that some black men have issues, you know. But I say that in the spirit of liking to see black men do better. And what I want you to do is whenever you hear a female calls herself alpha, I want you to bust the fuck out laughing. I'm like, that's some funny shit to me. Get the fuck out of here. I already have a problem calling a guy an alpha. I get the high value man thing. I get that. I get the masculine thing. I get that too. Shit. But alpha, we're not fighting over a dead deer, a deer kill. We're not doing that. We're not fighting over how many lionesses we could get. That's not what we do as far as humans. We handle things in a civilized manner, such as humans do. Funny thing how women perceive men. Like all we do is just scratch our nuts all day, and we're just super pushy and super angry and roaring and shit. And you know how I know they perceive that way, because that's how they act when they try to act all masculine, like they're just angry and loud. I'm alpha. Oh, that ain't what it's about. That's why you're a female, and that's why I'm a male. I'm just saying, like, if you wanna call yourself a man and you call it a female and alpha guy, I mean, shit, you must be getting paid to do it. There's one thing: you've either getting paid to call her that, or to refer to her, or to give her that respect. You're either getting paid to do that shit, and I hope the pay is good, or you have just given up on being a man. That is just what it is. That's the cruel fucking reality. If you let a woman lead you, that's pretty much it. She's the man. Hey, I just want to wait. I just want to wait to see what she say. Huh? I just want to. I mean, you give her the respect. You of course tell her. Well, damn, it's like a lot of your decisions got to be you, bruh. I mean, I know it's hard. I mean, if both your monies is tied into it, I get it. But if, like, don't let her just fuck around and do what she want to do all the goddamn time. Shit, you gotta have some balance to that shit. I mean, you gotta understand. No one really wants balance with you. No one. When I say no one, I'm pretty much counting the other several billion people that are on this planet. No one wants balance with you. If they, it, and that's just that's nature. I guess that's kind of a nature versus nurture thing. No one wants balance with you. You know why? Because people will always appreciate the advantages that they have over you. Period. And there's some low down people on this planet. Imagine them with those advantages. I'm not gonna think that okay I'm not gonna always think it's okay that the male can screw a female over. Even though it used to be like that, and we'd be like player player from the Himalayas and all this other shit. It's not okay for a female to screw a man over. Period. It's not. I don't care if she's using the system as a betrayal. Setting brothers up to get robbed. That's another one. None of that shit. We should not be doing shit to hurt each other. That's not alpha either. And both of these females, let's get back to these two. Both of these females have done everything they can to hurt the outlook of black men publicly. Publicly, like Gabby over there, making us responsible for, as men, on how we should feel about the alphabet people. That's not our issue. Stop trying. If you're a black man, and this is just my opinion, you shouldn't be trying to, if you're gonna call yourself pro-black, you need to really understand and soul search what that really means. If you want to consider yourself pro-black, you go right ahead. I mean, I'm not saying that if you don't support certain lifestyles that you can't be pro-black. That's BS. But at the same time, it's like let's just call pro black for what it is on social media. It's a virtue signal. I love being black. I love being a black man. But if you date who you want to date and you still appreciate where you came from, I have no problem with you. People may have a problem with me for viewing these things that way. I'm just basically at the end of the day, I don't endorse interracial marriage, but I don't condemn it either. And it seems like to me that the brothers that are public figures, they still do things for the community, even though they marry out. So I don't want to hear that shit. Like you trying to dilute the race. You want everybody to be like, no, I'm not trying to dilute the race. I didn't marry a white woman. you know, shoot. But yeah, none of you really understanding what encompasses being pro-black because you don't. Every decision has to be forward moving for the community, for our community, because it's like let me give an example. I have like no place really in commenting on other races, but you don't go around hearing Asians calling themselves pro-Asian. I'm pro-Asian, but they are, and they are is because they know where to go to get the money. Setting up a convenience store in our community. Now, this is in no way, shape, or form meant to be pointed at what happened in Menace to Society, but it's still that way. And I'm not saying that this is the land of opportunity. This is the land of opportunity, and I do believe that more of us should go into entrepreneurship. I do believe that. But I'm just trying to get y'all to think about what that pro black actually means. Are you going to ride or die financially? Are you going to make sure that you look out for the best interests of the collective? Or are you just going to sit up there and say you are and, I don't know, just be for yourself the whole time? I mean, there's a lot of people that's selling that to you right now. So there's not a real requirement. I think it's a joke when people like her say, and people like Gabby say, "Oh, you can't be pro-black if you're not pro this and pro alphabet." No, 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 I don't listen to you. I don't listen to you when it come to that. That is not my issue. Shoot. And then what are people like her? What do people like her do for the people who use it, weaponize that lifestyle to attack heterosexual men, black men in particular? They don't care about none of that. But she has done something. She has done something that a lot of these women want to do, and she put it on display for the public to see. She has successfully broken a black man. Now let's now the little rat shit comment. She was salty that you know Dwayne Wade had a baby by another woman. Now, some shit you just keep to yourself because the public perception of how she raises kids is not very good. And yeah, Wade is responsible for it too because he publicly supports it. I don't. I mean, I don't support adolescent children making huge decisions like that. I'll just say that much. And like the way we go on and go about with age, we're making ourselves look stupid and we're making ourselves look like hypocrites. And y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to keep it a little safe here. Maybe I do a more gangster version for y'all on Patreon. I do have a Patreon, by the way. I mean, more on that in the future. But I want to make sure that when I do have a Patreon going, that I deserve that Patreon, and not that I got a Patreon, and people are throwing in their dollars, to support me there, and I'm not really putting stuff out. So, maybe that's a video for the future, just for Patreon. But on YouTube, I understand what the situation is. You can't go too far. And then, a couple of y'all, well, you be brutally honest. I'm like, look, man, look, they flagging folks right now. So, hey, look, I can be brutally honest in ways that aren't cruel, that still get the message across. But, it's like, as far as, her mommying skills, I would never want my child to pattern, her mommying skills, Granted, that's the case one day. Uh, After this, Gabby right here, I would never want that. That's not alpha at all. And then I also get it. Everyone has things that happen in their life and in their lives, and Gabby had something very serious happen to her growing up. Um, I get that. And I'm not gonna say all incidences matter, but just take into consideration, that's what shaped her into who she is. Still no need to throw an innocent man under the bus. I want y'all to remember Nate Parker. Like, she threw Nate Parker under the bus, for the film and the birth of a nation. She decided not to support the film because of what he was being accused of and how it that particular subject matter has impacted her life. And you know what? I get it. I tried not to go down that slope with them. I mean, it's just out of respect because that's something that happens to women every day that's horrifying, and some women can't escape that kind of thing. But what would have made sense in any right situation is at the end of the day, that man was found innocent. And she didn't consider that man's life at all. She went with her narrative. She went with the sisterhood. So I've been kind of on that like ever since. And then, just little things popping up here and there. Every time she pops up in the media, it's some new bullshit. You know. So anyway, all right. Got 29 watching. Check the likes. So hopefully everyone is pressing like on the way in. Oh, it's 16 likes. So go ahead and hit that like button for me. 16 likes, 29 watching. So the likes are for free. Oh, all right. So let me go down some of these comments. Yay. Yeah, let me go down some of these comments. I talk for a minute. Raven Knight, what's going on? No, no, we can't talk about the most destructive force in the community. No. Oh yeah, it is. What do you want to be for Halloween, baby? Yeah, I want to be a bad bitch. Said this little girl. Yeah, Black Uru Strikes is interesting. This is interesting how similar Wade and Gabby are to Will and Jada as couples. They are almost like the lighter and darker skinned versions of each other. Indigenous TV. Toya the Tutor, what is going on? Like, so good to see you. In- Indigenous TV. Dude probably cries himself to sleep on the couch. Petway Boy. Petway Boy agrees with me. Alpha and beta isn't in my vocabulary. I don't know. I just think that I just think that we don't go around killing for food and trying to impregnate as many of the. Oh yeah, some of us think that's some correct behavior, but look, I'm not ever here to advise you to go around just impregnating women and killing for food and shit like that. That's how they, like I said, that's how they determine alphas and betas elsewhere. Um, I'm listening. What's going on? Black Uber strikes. All that alpha and beta talk is crazy. At best, any sort of alpha or beta status is entirely situational, and it damn sure doesn't have anything to do with what some useless female thinks and feels. Let me offer some additional context to that. Um, yeah, if you are alpha because some female called you an alpha, oh, you're alpha. You lasted 2 hours last night. Oh my God, I was blown away. That ain't it, bruh. That ain't it. That ain't it. I mean, that just makes you good in bed. I mean, maybe according to her, or that's just her trying to sauce you up so she can hit that bank account a little bit. But there, a lot of these dudes, like they believe that is the way a female treats them. If she seems somewhat subservient, then that's what makes you an alpha. If she just kind of bows down and she gets on her knees and smiles like a donut, when she gets in front of you. Oh, Big Daddy, yeah, yeah, take that alpha penis out and just wiggle it, or some shit like that. Is like that. That's what's inside these dudes' head. What it may be going out on the exterior is something that is totally different. Like this dude might be simping online or some shit, or using YouTube and Facebook to spread some kind of dumb message about black men, and then she's calling him alpha because of that. Alphas realize that you don't argue with black women. Just like you're not that important. I mean, I'm not gonna ever say, you should don't argue with black men. You argue with me all you want. You ain't gonna fucking win. But I mean, shit. I'm not gonna shame you for trying to argue with me. Here's some bullshit that we kind of do a little bit of. Let me see. Like every time that somebody offers pushback to whatever any of you are saying, and here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna push back a comment down there on purpose. So I'm just gonna pick one, and it's gonna be a surprise. And I'm gonna do this in a couple minutes. But we have a tendency, and I know I have a mature audience. I have a mature audience, so is don't take it any kind of way. But when we push back, you're acting like that the person that's pushing back against whatever you're saying is restricting you somehow. Oh, I can't say this. I can't say that. I want to say this, but I can't because that person over there is like saying that I can't. It's not even that they're saying that you can't. It's just that it's disagreement and pushback. You can't crumble every time somebody disagree with you. And that's what these so-called alpha females are. That's what they do. Every time you disagree with them too much, and you begin to make a little bit too much sense, they whole thing just fucking crumbles. Oh my God! Why are you pushing back? Oh wait, and then they do the white girl. You hate women. Hey, it's like there's nothing alpha about that. The battle is over at that point, as far as I'm concerned. Once they start throwing a little, act like they know your fucking character when they don't, then they lose. They lose that little alpha shit. So there. So let me pick this comment. I ain't forgot about y'all. All right, all right. What comment am I gonna push back on? Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Can these old woman bots be that good to these brothers? See why Skinner Man cave. I'm finna push back on that because the answer is yes. People, I mean, it's kind of like answering a question anyway. But a lot of these dudes put pussy at the top of the list. Period. Like it's like people can have a good balance of sex and a good balance of everything else, and that everything else can include common sense. But like you got Negroes out here, nigga class, that believe that it's the sex you're having, the look of the girl that you're having sex with, or if you're just having sex, period, with a woman. Everything is about getting pussy. We can't voice our concerns without being accused of not getting any pussy. You just mad because you ain't getting no pussy. I'm like, all right, man, shit. Especially when, I mean, I'm really smug about that when a woman says it. That like nobody's really tried me like that yet. Like, just don't. Let me just give a warning to every female out there. Don't ever try to question, especially if you're a married woman. Don't ever try to question my level of me getting sex because I have an opinion that's different from yours. Because it will be downhill from there. And I'm not talking about cussing you out and calling you a bitch. I'm special. I'm better than that. I can do it a lot better than that. I don't have to be like, oh, bitch, fuck you, goddamn. Oh, shut up, shut up. This is what we're talking about here. Fuck these bitches, And I mean, like, I may be thinking that in my head, but, I'm not going to try to look like that out here. I can break you down a little bit better. I can say shit you wouldn't expect. So, don't be like, oh man, you just mad because you ain't expect. Like, if you're a woman or you're a married woman, you just mad 'cause you ain't getting no put. Okay, all right, cool. Then it's like, let the games begin. I'm gonna show you how unalpha you are. So, hey, it's been 48 minutes, 31 people watching. Hurry up and buy it. What's going on? And H, oh look at that. H is either said that about Dwayne Wade or Will Smith. My guess is Wade. But guys have said that about Will Smith too. See, I understand. Like for what I observed, it seems a lot of men kind of are hard on Will Smith, and they, these guys have a tendency to feel like that it's like I said earlier, that it's his fault that the way Jada is. Yeah, it is kind of, but Jada been like that ever since before Will. Like I used to watch Jada Pinkett when she was on Tavis Smiley cutting the fool, like trying to, like, she always had this little thing, like she just tried to take over the conversation or whatever. Like, me and my wife would agree she was quite annoying in a different world, because she just had that sass about her. She just had that sass, and I heard her in like Sass One and Sass Two. Janet Hubert had some words on set of Fresh Prince of Bel Air. She always was like that. So the way you kind of can blame Will was the fact that she was like that before, and he chose to marry her, and then he has this no divorce policy. So anything that she does, he has already clarified that he's going to put up with it. And I do believe that's why a lot of men do kind of throw a lot of salt toward Will. Man, Will a pussy. Will ain't no gangster. He ain't got that. That why she preferred Tupac. She can't stop thinking about Tupac. I don't know. I think that the Tupac thing at this point is a bit of a reach. Even though she did say that, she posted this poem Tupac wrote. Tupac was her friend at the end of the day. Tupac is still a very notable figure, even though he's been dead for, what, 25 years? I'm just offering devil's advocate, no matter how, because a lot of y'all was like, oh, she was in love with Tupac because Tupac was alpha, yeah, y'all, a lot of you guys chalk it up to that, because Tupac had Thug Life tattered across his stomach, and this man had gold laying between his leg in a bathtub full of milk. It's like, I saw that picture. And I'm not trying to give Tupac a hard time, rest in peace, brother. But it's like, damn, I just think that the Jada Tupac thing at this point is a reach. I mean, he was famous, she was famous, blah, blah, blah. The comparisons to Will Smith is speculation, because she ain't said shit like that. You have to hear a lot of this shit from the horse's mouth. And if y'all disagree with me, you guys, I mean, that's good. But I'm gonna push back again. Let me see what y'all saying down here. Let me see. Indigenous TV. I hated her character on that show Gotham. I will disagree with you on that. I actually liked the character. I liked Fish Mooney. I mean, I didn't feel like it was complete sass. There were, she was put in situations to where she had to go against the incumbent bad guy. She was an original character to the show, so it had to mean something. Like, I enjoyed Fish Mooney. She was actually one of my favorite parts of Gotham. But it's just that, just whatever's outside of that, I is like Hawthorne. Like, who remembers Hawthorne? She was like this doctor, this TV doctor. It was a TNT series. Hardly anyone except me. I didn't watch an episode. I don't think I watched a minute of that series. It's like the longest I watched that series was the commercials. That's for it. That's why, because I used to watch. Let me see. I think I used to watch WCW Monday Nitro, and the commercial used to come on, something like that. But she did what, and I've had this little uh, and let me see. I've had this argument with people like I made the controversial statement a while back. Controversial that Will Smith actually married down. Now, you guys in the comments, do you agree or you disagree with that? Like, and let me explain why I said that. Will Smith he's had a successful television series. He's had a successful music career, although you can think about whatever you want about his campy, happy rap. He was successful with that. He was successful as a Fresh Prince. Like mostly all his songs hit. Like it was toward the end of the Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince where he wasn't that good. But then when he did Big Willie style and he was like in Bad Boys, like then that's really like Welcome to Miami was catchy, Get Jiggy with It was catchy. People enjoyed shit like that. He had a mega successful movie career. Like he has plenty of great films out there. I mean, I remember how big and successful Independence Day was when it came out, and that came out in 1995. He had the Wild Wild West, which sucked. Then he had the Men in Black trilogy, which or was Will Smith in Four Men in Blacks? Because they did one with Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth that I don't think it popped as much as Will Smith's ones. The ones with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. But yeah, he did Men in Black. He did Enemy of the State. I mean, Bad Boys itself, like just the Bad Boys trilogy. Uh, the two careers, like it ain't like Jay Z and Beyonce. Like the two careers really don't compare. They don't. So I mean, the argument was, well, she got her own money. She helped Will and like, nah, Will had a lot of that success like already. So if you wanted to make the argument that Will married down when he married Jada, you can. So it's really no reason for her to act like this in public at all. And I don't think this is a model that women should follow. Period. Because see, in their situation, that proves that maybe it doesn't matter if you make more money and you're paying all the bills and you're completely supporting the lifestyles of not only Jada's mom, and the kids. And kids, if you're any kind of father, yeah, if you donated life fluid to that, then you are responsible. Period. So, I mean, he supported all of them. Jada didn't need to do anything for real. I mean, she was still out there because she was a celebrity in her own right. Let's not get that wrong. I mean, Jada, she did Different World. She did a Low Down Dirty Shame. She did Set It Off. She did Woo. Woo. remember Woo with Tommy Davidson. Uh, let's see. She did Hawthorne. Let's see what else. She did The Matrix. She did The Matrix. She's Niobe in The Matrix. She's gonna appear in the new Matrix film as Niobe. Yeah, she did The Matrix. And for those of you who went to those movies, specifically to see her, then I guess you can use that. And the irony of that is, Will actually turned down the part of Neo. See, Will could have been a part of another major franchise, like as the main protagonist, the one of the most powerful fictional characters outside of Superman. I don't know. It depends on what happens in this next film. Well, he was Hancock. See, Hancock. Like this man has had a very diverse career of films. You cannot make the argument that Jada and Will are level. You can't. You can't make that argument. You make that argument, I don't know what the fuck wrong with you. So here's what I'm gonna do. If anyone wants to come up here and talk about these two dynamics, I will drop the link. If you want to come over here and talk about these two dynamics, the whole alpha female concept, yeah, let's do it cleanly. I can't police what you say. Some of y'all be saying some real good shit that I don't even think of. But so let's see what happens. Infinite divinity. They ain't trying to have a black Neo, no way. But yet they offered it to Will Smith. That's fact. They offered it to Will Smith. He turned it down. They gave it to Keanu. And really, that was a resurgence in Keanu's career when he accepted that role. Because, like, cause I'm tell you, as a moviegoer, I always saw Keanu as a dumb motherfucker. Like the only thing that he could say clearly was "whoa." I was never a fan of Point Break. Like, I know he could do other things like Speed and everything, but the only thing I could see out of Keanu was "whoa." But I mean, he's far and beyond grown since then. Like, The Matrix was a pretty good film. I did appreciate the action scenes, especially like the whole dodging the bullet shit, and the whole the my favorite one of my favorite movie scenes of all time in all of film is Neo and Trinity shooting up the lobby in the third act when they go to try to rescue Morpheus. That is like one of my favorite all time scenes. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it. It's almost like me in the hundreds of times I watch Transformers the movie. It never gets old. Never. It never gets old. So, yeah, but yeah, let's get back on the subject. I was talking about white folks. Uh, let me let's see. Let's see. Okay, it's been 1 hour. I guess I'll play a little video snippet for y'all, and then I'll come back. All right. Yeah, this is Kev, and this is BMBBH, and I see Patricia Coley down there. What's going on? Good to see you. She usually be in my comment section on my backup channel. Yeah, I do have a backup channel, which is not nearly the size of this channel. But just in case something happens, it for those of you watching that's subscribed. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because there's been some content creators that's been kind of saying things like people are being unsubscribed from my channel without any of their knowledge. So a lot of people are not catching notifications because they're being unsubbed. And I'm not saying that people are just like not pissed off with me, like, oh man, I'm unsubbing this motherfucker. I mean, you're welcome to do that. Anyone is welcome to do that. If you don't want to be subbed to me, then I can't make you stay, and that's just a fact. But it is up to me to provide the quality content to get you to stay. So, just in case that is the case that people are being unsubbed without their knowledge, just make sure that understand that it's not me. I'm not. I would not unsub anyone. I want this channel to grow beyond my expectations. I wish I could have had a burst like the Facebook group did. Like the Facebook group bursted. It was thousands of folks in no time. But YouTube is a more of a challenge, and it is what it is. Just it's on me to provide that content that makes me the preferred brand on the weekend. And believe me, I believe that I should be the preferred brand, no matter who is on. No hate to the other content creators, but I mean, I know what I'm here for. I'm here to get out. I'm here to get out a perspective, and everyone who watches and everyone who sub, thanks for your support. So if you haven't, go ahead and hit that like button. Likes are for free. Super chat is Super Chat is active and available for you who want to maybe throw in a couple dollars. And also, wrenches are active for those of you who have blue wrenches, who are moderators. There are, those few random trolls that, just if they start spamming, just go ahead and block them from the channel. Um, if they are being blatantly disrespectful and saying crazy shit, then just go ahead and do what you got to do on that one. If they're pushing them back against an opinion of yours, the expectation is you debunk them by using verbiage. Don't time them out. That's my expectation here. I can time people out any given time if I want to. That's that's any content creator. They can time out whoever they want if it's their platform. If it's their platform. But my expectation for the moderator is if you're doing a back and forth with someone, and I won't allow you to get disrespected. I won't allow you to get disrespected. If they're disrespecting you, then you do what you got to do. But if it's on my opinion is different from yours, please by all means use your brain and defeat them that way. But let's get back to the topic. And I said I was going to drop that link. So, all right, like I said, subject matter, please. Boom. Here we go. Let me let me take care of something real quick. Yeah, I wish these things had quicker access. I don't know. Yeah, boom. All right. Yeah, that's my see. Here's my chosen avatar for tonight. Because that's exactly what I think of an alpha female. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it just depends on it just depends on where you're at as far as your manhood. So, like I said, if you like to think that alpha females exist, knock yourself out, buddy. But don't be coming to me with that shit. I'm gonna tell you. It's like, man. It's like, man, check your drawers. Make sure there's not a pussy there. And I know that's rude, but it's definitely intended to be that way. So, all right. Fat Cat 89. I didn't like how Jada punked Snoop Dogg at the red table. That motherfucker allowed himself to get punked. I mean, shit, he allowed that shit. Snoop Dogg allowed that shit. He the one decided he wanted to cry. I was like, what did she do? Like, what she do? She bowled up at him. You better cry, nigga. And then they cut out the footage. Yeah, but fuck, man. Snoop Dogg did that shit to himself. Like, and I mean, like, I don't know if what's the name, the government chick. I don't know if he just had that much of an impact on him or something. I'm gonna cut your balls off if you don't go out there and cry. Like, I mean, whatever happened. All right, here we go. Black Uru. What's going on?
Hey, how you do, Kevin? Am I
Yeah,
coming in? Am I coming in clear? Or,
you kind of got a, I don't know, kind of a loudness, kind of a muffle.
well, muffled. Um, you know what? I'm going to come down and come back up. And if you
No,
don't mind.
yeah, I can hear you now. I mean,
You hear me better now?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, interesting topic you got here. There's two interesting couples from a sociological standpoint. Similar in some important ways, but dissimilar in some other ways. Uh, one thing that stands out to me with both Will and Jada and Wade and Gabby is I get the sense that both men uh, feel a certain type of guilt or responsibility about them being more successful than their women, or more popular or more famous. And I think a lot of what they have done, and we might consider to be mistakes, have been as a result of them attempting to placate those women because of that guilt, if you will. I mean, you notice they both tend to take a very sort of public deferential position with the women. Like they're trying to not overshadow them. You know, it's also interesting that both are proportionately larger men. Will a little more so, you know, bigger than the average man. Obviously, Wade being a professional basketball player, even more so than him. So they have to do things, and Jada's a little thing. So they have to kind of minimize their presence in a way to kind of inflate these women. So they often come off as being quite self-deprecating when they're in the presence of these, or when they're with each other, and they're doing any sort of promotional kind of stuff. There's always this extra effort being made towards them, ensuring those women are getting attention. And sometimes they do it. Uh, I've seen both of them, but Will, in some ways, have done it to the point of, I think, personal embarrassment at times because it's so obvious. But yeah, I think part of their problem with both of those women is they really love those women a lot, maybe in a not necessarily a healthy way in some ways, but they love them to the point in which they want those women to enjoy a similar sort of fame and attention that they get. And I think that's part of the source of their problem with those women.
yeah. I also think a part of it is the conditioning that we as men also have is that we feel like we feel like it is self rewarding if we can do that for a woman, and sometimes we spoil these bitches.
But you know, most successful men marry less successful women. Uh, but you don't see all of them appear. You don't see other successful men appear to go. And I think a third person that's going to possibly be added to this list or whatever is going to be Russell Wilson and Sierra. Although Sierra is probably maybe more of a match in her own right to Russell, at least she was at some point in terms of fame and attention. So it's kind of different. But you see this again, this extra effort to try to feature the women, you know, and it compelled because women are so capricious and so emotional and so vain, it puts a man in a position in which he will eventually be compromising himself because the nature of a woman, the whole solipsistic me kind of thing, is not a good place for a man to put himself into.
Hmm. All right, Roger, what's going on?
What's happening, Kev? What's happening? What's happening, Black Rule? How you doing?
Hey, I do, Roger.
First thing I'm gonna say is long live the habitual line steppers, and
Long live.
Long live.
shout out to Petway Boy. He say Uncle Roger in the building. You know what? I decided as a guy who gets a little older, you got to embrace certain stuff. So I see the it is a certain sign of respect when the young brothers call you uncle. So I'm gonna try to do my best to embrace that. So shout out to Petway boy. What's good, nephew? I'm gonna embrace that type of thing. And then maybe I can maybe I can be respected like some of the elders in the building here, like Mister Uru here. You know what I'm saying? But thinking about your question, man. Real talk. When I think about an alpha female or alpha woman, being realistic, the best I can come up is a lesbian woman that's taking the male role on in the relationship. That's the best I can come up with. You know, if she wants to consider herself the alpha because there are no men present, I mean, I still wouldn't recommend they do it, but it makes some level of sense at least that you uh that you want to do that with no man present.
Well, actually an excellent point from the perspective of power dynamics, and I think very often one of the reasons why uh, rainbow relationships, especially those involving the female gender, tend to be so stressful is for that very reason. Look, when a man and a woman gets together, the man's physical presence alone, unless he chooses to accept otherwise, is going to put him in a more dominant position. But when you have two women together, same size, same generally same physical capabilities, uh, both very emotional or whatever, that situation is ripe for a power struggle. And so one of the people is assume more of a dominant or alpha position, and that may be okay for a while, but in the end, that other female knows that that's a female. You know, she can be as butch, or I don't even know what's appropriate to say these days. She can be as masculine as she want and don the accoutrement of a man, but in the end, she got that monthly. You know, she got all those same basic issues and basic limitations that a female has. So maintaining that alpha status in a lesbian, I don't know what to say, in a rainbow relationship uh, is more difficult and less sustainable over the long term.
Yeah, but I mean that's the best place I could actually as I was thinking about this, that's the best place I can even see it fit for women to be called alphas in any kind of scenario. And I think the alpha beta terms, I believe they're going to continue to catch fire because realistically speaking, and this is not a shot to anybody personally, but this it just is what it is. When we look at the collective of black men, we got so many people that have been raised by women. You've been taught to be gynocentric, and it's up to you as a man to focus on how you have been gynocentric and change what you've been doing. So at the end of the day, um, I believe men want to be alphas in the concept of it having something to do with women because alpha really never meant anything to do with women. But men online want to take it as I want to be an alpha. Why? Because he want to look good in front of all these women out here. It just is what it is. He wants to be the man amongst other men because he cares what the women think about him in comparison to other men. So, and there's nothing wrong with men competing and things like that. But to me, there's just something gynocentric about a woman being able to determine what man is what man, and what man fits into what category. I don't think women have a place in determining who men are. They just don't have a place at the table for that, if you ask me. Which is why women should be seeking the guidance of their fathers, their brothers, and their uncles when it comes to dealing with women. But the gynocentric nature of men, I want to be the alpha, especially with these women present. So the term is going to continue to go. People are going to continue to use it, and they want to show that somebody else is a beta in comparison. And women use it, and I see a lot of women using it in a negative way, and they're using it as a insult to men. You know, and no woman should be going around believing that it is okay for her to just be able to insult random men. I don't buy into that way of thinking. So to me, there is a certain silliness that I see when black people give so much focus on those terms, but I'm pretty sure nobody's looking at it from that concept. Well, maybe, I mean, sure somebody is, but I think most of us ain't looking at it from that concept yet. Why would we allow women to determine who's an alpha and who's not? It's got to be one of the dumbest things ever. But in the gynocracy, I get why it makes sense, because everything you've been taught was men don't count. Just do what you can to serve a woman. So a man is trying to show that I'm better able to serve a woman. Stupid, in my opinion.
Hmm. I mean, all that makes you is financially responsible. I mean, if you want to call that financial responsibility, handing over all your shit to a woman that doesn't even want to respect you. I mean, so that can be looked upon as a double-edged sword, but a lot of men do believe that makes them alpha, the ability to take care of a woman because they believe that appreciation is going to come right along with that. And for like the men that I just put up on the screen, how far does that appreciation go? I mean, they can't like do you consider a wifey type someone who has to show, even though it's a good looking ass, someone that has to show her bare ass in public? Like, there
Absolutely
was
not.
not, that was not one blemish on that ass. There was not.
You know,
I mean,
I missed the ass showing. Who you referring to?
Gabrielle Union,
Oh, okay,
she took an Instagram pic where she
okay,
had her back turned to a mirror and she was wearing a thong,
okay.
and those
Yeah,
cheeks were lovely,
yeah.
you know.
Well, so
Let me say
now
this.
well, now the plan is to cut Wade, then I guess, right? Now's the plan. If she hasn't already, maybe she has. But now the plan is to get other dudes coming at it. That's what that sounds like. I mean, that sounds like the same similar thing that Curry's wife was pulling or has been pulling, which is interesting because apparently, you know, Gabby is the one who kind of got in her ear in terms of lamenting Curry's wife lamenting not having a whole phase. So so Gabby kind of put that in her head. But yeah, so I guess it shouldn't be a surprise. It's like it's cucking season for black men.
Yeah.
I mean, Jada's already pulled that one off with the entanglement. So I guess now it's Wade's turn and it's Steph's turn. So
Yeah,
he,
but my
And let me say this too, because when I was talking about being alpha, I wasn't talking about just in context of money. Sure, there's some guys who think they're alpha because they have money. There's other guys who think they alpha because he can impress a woman a little bit more easier than another man. Some people think they're alpha because of their quote unquote game. I can talk to a woman, get a woman to do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Some men think they're alpha because of their stature. Well, I'm 6'6", and I can
right.
bench press 400 pounds and things like that. I'm saying if you relate alpha in the context to women, period, you're already making a mistake as a man. It's gynocentric thinking. I get why we do it because we've been raised in a gynocentric community. So I'm not down on any man for doing that. I'm saying, but at some point in time, we're supposed to recognize that we are more than just pleasing some woman. We literally were created for the woman to help us. We weren't created to help them. We were created to lead, which is they'll get the help from the leadership that we give. But we weren't created to be their help me. So if you accept that your relationship to a woman in any way can determine how alpha you are, you have some gynocentrism in you that you need to work on.
Well, I wish brothers, with all due respect, and I'm not necessarily trying to disagree. I really wish black men would abandon all this alpha beta talk to begin with. Because as I said in your chat, Kevin, at best, your status amongst men will generally typically be situational. I mean, there are situations where I'm the most dominant person in the room. There's situations where I'm subordinate to other men. There are situations in which I'm almost inert in that room, or just at best of a tertiary influence as to what's going on. So I mean, this whole you have this designated status, just amongst all. I don't know. Maybe if you look, would Superman be alpha amongst all of us? Sure. Why? Because Superman can do shit that none of us can do on any kind of level, right? But that's not how the vast majority of men operate between and amongst each other. Between and amongst each other, we have varying degrees of status, capabilities, responsibilities, leadership, and it's going to vary from situation to situation to situation. Again, maybe if you become president of the United States, you are a true human alpha because there's technically
Mm.
nobody, you know,
Well,
above you.
technically, you know what, Black Guru? Technically, President of the United States is just another one of my employees. He ain't that alpha.
Well,
Alpha
no,
being
but
president.
he is alpha from the standpoint of he can he can assign people he can initiate a war. Ain't too many of us who can do that, for example.
Yeah, but
So,
he
but
he
I don't want to go down that road too far because again, my point is I don't believe this alpha and beta talk is just legitimate to begin with, even amongst men. Even amongst men, I don't think it's a legitimate sort of status uh, criteria because, again, the vast majority of us are going to be in different places based on the situation we're in, based on what stage we are in life. Certainly, a boy is not going to be alpha in dealing with relationships to men, for example. So I just don't think it's a valid way to assess the quality and the status of men.
it'd be like Black Uru. That steak dinner you got sure look good. Let's fight for it. Cause I feel like I'm the alpha.
Okay. Well, I mean, if we're in the wild, I guess. I mean, I guess that would be more of a valid uh,
Yeah,
assessment
that
of who's
which
alpha than in a modern society where everyone can get
yeah,
a steak sandwich.
yeah. That's what I was saying. Like in a more uncivilized primal society, then that could be decided. But we're
Right.
humans. We're civilized. We're decision makers. The alpha beta concept is not one that is befitting of a civilization, which
Yeah.
in the root word is civilized. So, yeah, it's like how in an uncivilized society, then that's how you determine alpha and beta. The more muscular fat lion that always wins the kill in the meal, as opposed to the skinny lion who just getting pushed around all over the place by the alphas. But we're not like that as far as humans.
And I'm going to disagree with Roger slightly in this respect. In the wild, being alpha or beta does determine who gets pussy. I mean, that's a real thing.
Hmm.
A certain
I don't disagree with
lion
that
or
part.
silverback gorilla, the alpha silverback gorilla, he's getting the pussy. Now the other guys get some pussy too, but they get the little, the
They gotta get
trickle
the
down.
man look.
They get
So they get
they
the
get the trickle
strags.
down. But, but the silverback and the silverback does get the prime ass in the group. So that's a real thing. And that's
Well,
also
yeah,
one of the reasons why I think we should back up off the alpha talk because there is, in the wild, there is a connection between alpha and beta status and who gets laid. That is real. And so I think if we came out of that talk, it would it would de it would neutralize this whole notion of alpha and beta being connected to sex amongst human beings. That's why I would just rather just say it's just not valid at all
well,
for
I don't disagree.
civilized humans. For civilized humans.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. It's just, like I say, when we start using it in the connection with women, because we're not just animals that going around moving off instinct. So my thing is because we're beyond just animals. When people try to use it in the context of what man's gonna have sex with this woman and that woman, it all sounds silly to me. Because again, we live in a world where the multimillionaire can have a wife and then his wife still have sex with the pool boy. Who's more alpha between the multimillionaire and the pool boy? Neither. You know what I'm saying? Or you would have to say, well, in civilization, the multimillionaire has got to be more alpha because he can command more things. The pool boy is just like the silverback gorilla, where if the alpha sleep, other gorillas that mess with them same females. Then now the alpha got to be sleep or something or off for that to happen. But it ain't like they don't mess around on other gorillas. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I
Same
mean,
thing.
actually, you appear to be making the argument because, yeah, I mean, the millionaire could be the silverback, but like you say, the beta pool boy can still slam his wife. Well, it's the same thing in the wild. I mean, even though because look, the reality is that we only got so many bullets in a chamber. No matter how many we can, you know, I
Right,
mean, there's only
right. No
so
matter what
many
you
that
carry.
the silverback can knock off. If you will. In the end, somebody's going to get this sort of the after, effects. So, but I don't want to go too far down that particular line.
What I say, and to bring it back to the topic, when you start putting it across toward women, like who is the alpha female?
Yeah,
Honestly, that tells me that's a woman who wants to be a man. If a woman
yeah.
calls herself alpha anything, I don't want nothing to do with her. Period. I don't even like women who are. I'm pretty sure y'all have seen them before. There's like pictures that models will take sometime, or there's these. Uh, they got these underwear that they make it look like men's underwear, and women wear them. Like if you put that on, I don't want nothing to do with you as a woman because you know what I'm saying. The
You
fact
mean
that you're
like
wearing
boxers?
underwear.
You'll have women wearing boxers and stuff like that. Is that what you're talking about? Or
No, there's there's underwear that they make to look like tidy whities as we call them,
right?
that women will wear with a dick hole in it and everything.
Yeah, but it's
I
like
don't
Hold
a
want a
on.
woman putting that on.
fake.
Hey,
It's like a fake dick hole,
hey,
right?
Right,
yeah. I mean,
right.
unless you got a dick, then that's another story.
Well,
But
yeah, yeah. I mean, these
shoot,
days,
shoot.
Well, my thing is the fact that you would want me to view you as I view men. Why would you, if you truly a woman, why do you want me to view you the same way I view a man? That is like super stupid to me. I can't say ignorant because ignorance actually means you don't know any better. No, it's just stupid.
yeah.
Yeah. You heard it here first from Roger. He's wearing underwear with dick holes in them for women is a red flag. Uh,
But you got a lot of
hey, but
women who are,
hey,
yeah,
hey, let me call out this super chat. Gilgami, thank you. He says LLTHLS. That means long live the habitual line stepper. So long live. Thank you for your support. There you go, Blake-a-roo.
I mean, I think we underestimate how jealous many women are of men, and so a lot of these things they do, and like we were talking about Gabby and Jada, I, Gabby in particular appears to be very jealous of D Wade because look, notwithstanding D Wade's, especially the stuff that he's allowing with his son and his somewhat flamboyant attire at times, and what he essentially allows and facilitates with his wife. Dwayne Wade is an astoundingly accomplished uh, man, astoundingly accomplished, right? And um, and comparatively speaking, Gabrielle Union is in no way the caliber or quality of, let's say, actress that Dwayne Wade is a basketball player. I mean, Dwayne Wade's probably what the third or fourth best shooting guard of all time. Of all time. So he has a certain status. I mean, she'd have to win like a couple of Oscars to be in the same strata of success that Dwayne Wade is. And I get the impression she's very jealous of that. And I think a lot of her grandstanding and her running her mouth and all this stuff. And now she's talking about, well, if I was a woman before that I am now, I never would have taken him back after he got some other woman pregnant. Bullshit, bitch. He was Dwayne fucking Wade, multiple championship winner. He was
Yep,
Dwayne effing Wade. You are
yep.
not going to do better than Dwayne effing Wade. Not ever. Not in Hollywood, not in the NBA, not nowhere. But we have
Not
to,
at
but
all.
we have this society now where all men are afraid to say that.
Some of us
Good
aren't,
point.
but yeah, yeah,
Well, publicly though, I mean, public,
yeah,
in
yeah.
media.
Okay, well, Patricia Coley asked, and uh, like I get said again, thank you for showing up. Kev, do you or Roger have PayPal? I don't know about Roger. I don't have PayPal. I got Cash App and I got the Super Chat, but the PayPal. Maybe I need to set one up for people who exercise that option. Uh, but but thanks for thank you for watching the broadcast, and Jasmine Henson, yeah, thank you for showing up as well. It's like, although I named this channel Black Men Being Brutally Honest, a female's perspective is always welcome, and some are very interesting too. So just don't want you, just want you to feel comfortable in coming over here and sharing your opinion. It makes for interesting conversation. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody who's participating in that chat. I love the way the chat goes. Like, believe me, every broadcast, I love the way y'all exchange thoughts down there. And I mean that that that's important. That's important, that to me, that you guys know that. So, all right. So let's back to the topic.
Well, I think Black Hole makes a great point because yeah, Gabrielle Union is I'm sure is just for Dwayne Wade because when it all come down to it, yes, in the NBA he was elite for the NBA. She is not elite for an actress. Just is what it is, and that's not a slight to her. She just not it. She's not an elite actress. She don't got the awards to say it, to my understanding. She don't get paid to say it, to my understanding. She don't have a resume to say it, to my understanding. And I was a person that when somebody asked me about a celebrity crush, because I never actually had a celebrity crush, it was like, well, then who would it be? And I actually said Gabrielle Union a long time ago because she was, you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, she was a very attractive woman who stayed out of nonsense. I didn't remember her ever really saying anything negative about anybody. And I never remember, at least at that time, she was involved in anything that you would consider controversial or stupid looking and things like that. So I was like, well, I guess I go with Gabrielle Union. Little did I know that she was plumb crazy. What a difference a decade or two will make, So, yeah. See
And,
now we
and,
touch her.
and Roger, let me add to that too. She is admittedly crazy. Like, well, she says she has some kind of mental problems. I mean, she admitted that. She that's that. According to her, that's who she is. So it ain't Roger just trying to say shit because Gabrielle Union, the she how she carries herself. But yeah.
Well,
So go continue.
she was when she was a teen, she was violently raped and nearly killed. I think she was like beaten almost to death or shot. One of those. She worked at a some fast food place, and guy, I, I don't know if he was black or whatever, comes in and robs the place, and at some point he brutally rapes her, and I don't recall if he shot her and she nearly died, or was she almost bludgeoned to death. It was one of those. So she nearly died, and she had obviously very traumatic experience, very difficult recovery from that, and I imagine even to this day, it's probably something that she still on some level, consciously and subconsciously has struggled with, and maybe that has influenced some of her behavior or some of her maybe we might consider to be misbehavior. Knowing that, kind of tempered my view somewhat of her behavior. But when she started tampering with Wade's son, that was a bridge too far for me, for her.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, victims in brutal crimes such as that. I mean, I get that's part of what shaped her character. And Black Uru's right. You can give her somewhat with a pass on her because a traumatic experience like that is going to affect you mentally no matter what. I mean, I don't have to go through something like that in order to know the damage it can do to someone's psyche. But to take it out on a child, that's unacceptable. I don't give a fuck who you are, what you go through. That's your battle. That's your cross to carry. I mean, and like I said, I don't want to do the whole all victimhood matters or whatever, but I mean, we what part of what shapes our character is our ability to deal with what we've been through. So I mean, to try to destroy the masculinity within a child, yeah, that still makes you very questionable. Like, and I'm not comparing it to this, but say for instance, say for instance, and this has been an argument. This is an argument that hits BW's close to home. What if a black woman killed her child? Are you going to blame her traumatic experiences growing up? Are you going to play the white people card and say mental illness? Or are you going to look at the fact that she brutally murdered a child and she deserves to go to hell for that shit? See, I take the third
Well,
option.
hold on now, Kevin, because there have been some recent examples of just that very thing happening.
No, no,
I mean,
that's why I brought it up. That's why I
yeah,
brought it up.
okay.
It happens more often than most black people are willing to admit, and that's a sad thing. I mean, there is, yeah, yes, our community does need to visit mental illness, but like I said, and I've said this in the past, that's before something happens. After
But we
something
even
happens,
but we only bring it up when the killer is a woman,
yeah,
when
yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
mother. We never talk about the mental health of a man who killed
No,
a child.
we never do that. He a piece of shit. What's wrong with black men? Black men ain't shit. We been through that. We've been through that enough to know that is true. And what I'm saying is, once you do something, once you cross that line, for me, I don't give a shit who you are, male or female. You're gone in my eyes. You kill a child, that's it. You deserve everything you get, mental illness or no mental illness. But it's incumbent upon us as a people to cut that shit off before it happens. Like, that's that. If they got mental illness, get them help before something like that happens, because once you do something irredeemable, that's it. That's it. I got nothing for you.
But like in the case with the young boy who was killed by his mother recently. I mean,
Yeah.
if I recall correctly, she was actually on record for having had some sort of mental
Hey,
illness. So,
Black Uru, real quick. Yeah, you're kind of muffled again. It's like you do go kind of in and out. I do want to hear what you're saying, and I want to make sure everybody else can hear what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. You're bored. Just kind of drop off and
Yeah.
come back up.
Okay. Well, since Black Rule is struggling right now, but I'm gonna say this. There's a person on the panel that and I ain't gonna give out too many details because I ain't gonna give out identifying details with people. As a person who's lived through someone trying to kill me and beat me within inches of my life because of a certain situation, and I'm pretty sure if I ain't had the right people praying for me, I'd be dead right now. Now I can't speak to what a woman feels like when she's been raped. I'm not gonna even attempt to. But a lot of women say that something like that happens to them when they're kids. So I mean, or when they're an adult. So I don't know how much weight I'm even give to that because most women nowadays seem to claim that has happened to them or it nearly happened to them. So if it's nearly happening to just about everybody, then everybody need to get it fixed, or I got to accept it as a normalized thing. Or I don't know what. I'm not gonna really touch that part, but I'm gonna say this: I don't know how much I can give you a pass because you went through a bad experience. At the end of the day, if you have a bad experience and you have some type of trauma that happened because of that bad experience, it's your responsibility to get that trauma solved. It's just that simple.
Hey,
And
I would
yeah,
never. And that's a bad echo. No, I would never like try to diminish or invalidate anyone's experience. I would never do that. I do understand and realize that these are brutal things that happen. They're very traumatic. The fact that she had no control over that is what is what's most devastating about it. What I'm saying is it's your battle. It should not have to be anyone else's.
no. And what I'm saying is sometimes people use that as too much of an excuse as well. Because you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying it from a standpoint of something never happened to me. I was almost killed too. You see what I'm saying? But I don't lean on the fact that that I was almost killed as a reason to excuse myself for certain behaviors. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying. So
yeah. Just like I feel like that my bad experiences, uh, my bad experience with my people, and what I've went through as far as, have even growing up saying complete sentences and having good diction, what trouble that brought me. It did let me know that it did give me the ability to be brutally honest. So I look at it as a glass half full, but it doesn't make me hate my people. It is, I'm just way more crisp about letting our people know that in a lot of areas we need to do better. Period.
and I'm saying this because y'all because it was mentioned that something happened to Gabrielle back in the day. Well, something happened to me too. Okay,
Yeah.
and I didn't go crazy because something happened to me. And people are gonna deal with traumas differently and all that type of stuff. So I think sometimes people get too much of an excuse about what's going on with them. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes that stuff is being used as an excuse, and it really didn't affect them the way that people are claiming they're being affected. That's what I personally believe. Okay, I'm not saying that ain't nobody ever went through this thing, but I'm saying sometimes people push it too much. And at the end of the day, you an adult, go fix it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna tell you like that. If something happened to you and you still dealing with some type of trauma behind it, go fix it. I want to hear your excuse at the end of the day. Why? Because nobody gives me an excuse for stuff that happened to me, regardless of how I felt about it or how traumatic or not traumatic it was supposed to be. I had to go fix it too. So you go fix it. I don't want to hear it at the end of the day. I don't care about what happened to you 12 years ago and it's making you act this way right now. Or I want to hear about your childhood experience and therefore I was doing this and stuff. I don't want to hear all that. I just don't. Now, some people may take that as being cruel, but that's how everybody treats black men in this society. So it ain't that cruel. It ain't cruel enough to not do it to black men. So I don't want to hear your excuse. Just here's what it is. So I just look at Gabrielle as she's a jealous woman, and she's jealous of her husband, which is already a completely stupid thought process as it is. And you know, I think maybe she wants to do things to get at Dwayne Wade. You know, because of his greatness, he's been able to achieve greatness on a level that she just hasn't been able to achieve in. And a lot of black women want to be victims, and they'll seek certain men for the victim stories to make sense. But when you get a man like Dwayne Wade, who does make more money than you, even though you make money on an elite level, he's more famous than you, he's more world renowned than you, he had a better career than you, he retired before you. Everything about his life in comparison to hers is on point. But if you have a woman trying to compete with her husband, it throws you off. So she jealous of her man, and I think she kind of does things to mess with him because she jealous of him at the end of the day. Now it's Dwayne's fault that he don't know how to pick a better woman. It's not the first time he picked a woman that was not up to par. So he got an issue with picking women. But yeah, I think she wants to get at him and basically break him mentally. She just may not have figured out how to totally do it yet. But I'm not gonna listen to her past experience and say there's an excuse for her behavior. Now, bad stuff happened to a lot of folks. Just about everybody got a sob story. So I don't excuse anybody else's sob story. I'm a person that's been, like I say, I've been beaten to the point where I was inches from death or whatever the case is, or I mean I was in a coma. By the time I woke up, because people used to call things a pumpkin head. By the time I woke up, the pumpkin head was already gone. So yeah, I've been through something too. It ain't no excuse for me, so can't nobody else use it as an excuse. That's where I'm gonna stand on that. If I can't use it as an excuse, nobody else can either.
Yeah, I wanted to answer Indigenous TV's question. He said, Kev, you mean to tell me you made fun of having good grammar? Did I hear that correct? Yes, yes. And what it did was, at first, I would have these feelings like I wasn't cool enough. That was when I was much younger, of course. That people weren't going to like me if I didn't carry myself a certain way, what we might refer to in present day as swagger. But before I fully developed as an adolescent, I dropped all that bullshit. And what I did to combat that was I used even better grammar. I started looking in the dictionary for words that I knew would blow people away, and have them saying shit like, "Oh, you must think you smart again," Yeah, it's like, yeah, I think I'm smart, motherfucker. Shut up. I would do that. I mean, it gave me that kind of energy. Doesn't mean I'm bitter or anything like that, or doesn't mean that I get to treat everyone like a dumbass. Because believe me, I only treat dumbasses like they're dumbasses. I don't treat everyone like they're dumbasses. Like, believe me, it's like you treat a man like a man. You treat a woman like a woman, and that's what we say a lot to a lot of these BWs. They call it, "Oh, I'm alpha, who beat my chest, and I know how to eat double decker cheeseburgers and steaks and shit, and I know how to tell men to suck my dick, even though I don't have one, in a lot of cases." But and that's what we try to tell you, that women that are like that, we're going to treat you according to how what you try to project as a person. And that pretty much goes for everyone. If you are nice and you are present like cordial and you are polite, then is a likelihood, unless you got a bastard on the other side of you, that you're going to be treated in kind. Period. Is like, I don't have to put up with you being a bitch, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what alpha female looks like to me. It just looks like you're just trying to find some kind of excuse to be a bitch, and that doesn't look good at all. It's not a good look, for anyone to act like a bitch. But just to avoid these little attitudinal stereotypes, I would say that not acting like a bitch would probably be the way to go. And but Black Uru's back up here.
Yeah, I mean, look, we into this weird kind of era, where there is this effort and a very highly motivated, highly coordinated effort to put women above men, not equal to them, above men. And like I say, it's well coordinated amongst all the major institutions, and it's even extending beyond just the borders of this country. So, people like, especially like the Gabrielle Union, maybe to a lesser degree, um, uh, Jada Pinkett-Smith, is they're used as a means of normalization. You know, both from the standpoint of normalizing how the women are supposed to behave and operate, and normalizing what men are supposed to accept. The you know Will and Jada, but I'll say Will in particular, did men a great disservice with that whole entanglement thing, but because he kind of participated in the normalization of cuckoldry. He kind of opened up this window of men accepting their wives betraying them. And they even, like I said, she uses this euphemism which has been popularized, instead of hoeing around or cheating or being unfaithful or infidelity. This entanglement is now part of the public discourse in place of those things. And so even that term is kind of it's like it's almost made humorous, a man being betrayed. And the fact that Will, this enormously accomplished man by any stretch of the imagination, would publicly prostrate himself in the way he did, has a very, in my view, a very negative effect, especially on younger men, maybe more vulnerable men who feel a lot less powerful, especially and in particular in their relation to women. If someone like him could be diminished in that way, and appear to accept being diminished in that way, I just think that's a terrible thing that that he allowed himself to be a part of.
These hoes gonna be using the word entanglement more often nowadays. That's
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
oh yeah, yeah. They're getting trains pulled on them. They're calling them entanglements.
Yeah.
You know.
There's
So
a hell there's a hell of an entanglement.
So women be careful if you're using the word entanglement. You just about advertising you a hoe because they gonna use their word. No, it wasn't nothing that serious. It was just a small entanglement.
I'm like,
you should
okay,
you shouldn't even be upset about
yeah, I'm gonna have a small entanglement tomorrow. How about that?
it.
See how see if it go. It go both ways, as y'all niggas say. It go both ways. God.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Will like reacting to like her making that statement, talking about some. I don't know how to love Will because I don't know how to love myself. Like then Will made the statement like I wanted a harem of women started with Halle Berry. Now, first of all, that's kind of a lie because it's like how you gonna have a harem and then include Halle Berry in it? Like it's like when she'll be enough trouble on her own.
well, can you explain the context in which he made that statement? Because I keep hearing that, but it seems like an odd kind of out
No,
of the way.
no. Will basically said that the reason why we're in an open relationship because and the reason why all the infidelities exist is because of Jada. He totally threw that on Jada. So I think in order for him to be somewhat petty toward her, he was like, well, I wanted a harem of women, and I wanted one of them to include Halle Berry. And Will was probably capable of that somewhat because he is a man of extreme stature as far as his success. But it's like according to how he's perceived publicly, you had this woman say that Will was too nice. You had Pepper say that Will was too nice. And then all the steady comparisons to Tupac that everybody makes, like Jada misses Tupac so much, blah blah blah, to the point where Will doesn't look that way. So why would he say something like that? Especially the way he has publicly dedicated himself to his family.
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but when it comes down to the greatness of Will himself, like I believe if he really tried to get Halle Berry, he definitely could have got her. You know what I'm saying? Halle kind of off anyway. You know what I'm saying? She don't give herself the best presentation as a woman that's got her head together. She don't do that for herself. Um, so I would guesstimate that if he pursued her, he would have got her. You know,
Well,
I
he
think
could have
some of
gotten
the
her, but I don't think he could have kept her in a harem.
I don't think he actually would have
Not what
wanted
she
to.
knew about.
I don't think he would have wanted to. I think he was just being a little bit petty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because people, when they get upset and angry, they get petty sometimes. So I think Will was just being petty, and that's all it was. Come down to at the end of the day. I really believe that that's what he was doing. He was being publicly petty because him and his wife is seemingly having some type of dispute, and they're doing it in a public fashion at this particular point in time. So that's just my speculation on it. Um, Now I think you know what I'm saying. I mean, Will has done enough to be able to do a whole lot of things at the end of the day. So I don't question if he can get Halle. You know what I'm saying? I just don't question that. But when it comes to the Tupac comparison, that's usually more by us, the people. You know what I'm saying? We the people keep bringing up Tupac. He don't bring up Tupac like that. So I don't think Tupac was that major to him to a certain degree. I think the issue is just that Jada keep bringing up Tupac, and I believe she be doing it to spite Will.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's her way of getting at Will because same type of situation. Will is so much more accomplished than she is. They're two public people, very public. You know what I'm saying? They have there's very much about their a lot about their life that's very public. Will is just far more successful than her. So she's another woman in the same situation where she don't get to cry and be a part of sisterhood, be talking about how her man done did her wrong. Will didn't have a bunch of stories out there about him cheating on her or anything like that. Will public perception was phenomenal, and he's just far better than her. Period. And even if you say them as actor versus actress, Will's just a far better actor than she is an actress. He's the elite. You know, he was getting the 20 million in film when the top actors were getting 20 million in film. He was getting that. She never has. Not to my understanding. I ain't never heard of her getting top dollar, top bill on a
No,
film that did
no.
anything. Okay,
No, and I
so
think Will, and he said it before. I think Will, he said his. I heard him say once that the only real talent he has, or the greatest talent he has, is he works harder than everybody else. And I believe that to be true. I think if you look at kind of the things he did and when he did them, and having this great music career, then television, then movies. I mean, if you look at like the continuum of his life, especially, I mean, obviously he's gotten a little older and started to kind of relax things as of late, but sort of in the early '90s or late '80s, really, mid late '80s, coming into '90s and 2000s, you could tell he was a hardworking man, and I think, I mean, I don't know, or I don't get any indication at all that Jada ever was willing, or I don't see any examples of her working as hard as he did. And I think she kind of sort of comfortably rode his wave. And I think that worked for her because she was a pretty little thing on the arm of this mega uh, rap and then television and then movie star, right? So it kind of worked. But I think as time went on and as his accomplishments grew, it became ever more apparent to her that he was so much more accomplished than her, and probably even how he was being received by his peers, particularly in the movie business and maybe even outside of the movie business, where she probably came to the realization that I'm really kind of nothing compared to him. And I think it descended into her having sex with this dude who was half her age. Whereas, like, he's just so much more, his resume, his repertoire is just so much greater than mine, that I'm nothing to him. And that's where all the weirdness started to come out,
hmm
to try to accentuate herself in some way in comparison to his accomplishments.
she wants to humble him some kind of way. And because there's no other way that she has available to humble Will, she wanted to have sex with a dude and somehow let it get to the public. Or even if she didn't mean it to get into the public, I'm pretty sure, well, I mean, we all know that Will knew. So that was her way of humbling him.
She had sex with an unstable kid, essentially. She had to be a damn fool to think that wouldn't eventually get out.
I don't think she cared.
Yeah,
She just
yeah.
wanted to
Well,
humble Will.
I think she wanted it to get out. And
Yeah.
I think part of the reason why she did that with that boy was because she was hoping it would get out. Because she could have had sex with all manner of strapping dudes who was on code. We know that's what happened in Hollywood and in politics and these other areas where you have male and female concubines of some sort, and they're on the program or on the payroll or whatever, and they do their business and they keep their fucking mouths shut. But what does she do? She go have sex with some kid who wants to kill himself.
Uh
No,
huh.
she wanted that to
Yeah,
get out.
yeah. And I just wanted, like, real quick, just want to say that we had the 2 hour mark, and I have a surprise for you guys. I have some actual footage of Jada and August Alsina, just before they were getting in the act. So
Oh,
just
good lord.
well, we'll be back right after this.
So August put up a fight.
Oh God.
I was gonna ask which one is August and which one get out of
Hey. But here's something we haven't discussed yet. Daz Dillinger has accused Jada Pinkett Smith of having sex with Chris Kelly of Criss Cross. I think when he was 14. I think that's what it was, either 14 or 16. But
Now, which
Makes
Chris
sense.
is that? Is that the one who passed,
yeah,
or
the
I don't
one who
know
Yep.
passed.
who passed?
It makes
Uh,
sense though.
So she was on them young ones for a
yeah,
minute.
I mean, you know what? This is the thing that's coming out, right? Because wasn't there a similar kind of accusation made against Mary J. Blige with
Yep.
Danny
a
Boy.
singer?
Danny
Yes,
boy.
yes. So we this whole thing about people messing with children in Hollywood. It's always been told from the perspective or alluded to from the perspective of men. Well, what's coming out obviously is that women was on that detail too. That's
Yeah.
what's slowly coming out. So you're gonna hear more about that, about other women being involved with some little boys. You're gonna hear more about that. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. That's a culture. That's a culture.
And you know what else? I had to say that, and the reason I say it makes sense is because, um, well, Jada Pinkett. Let's not forget the fact that, in order to quote unquote humble Will, because I believe that's what she was on. So that's my speculation. She did it with her son's friend. Why would you? I understand like you doing it with one of Will's friends or something
Hmm.
like that, but you had sex with one of your son's friends. Like she's so far off code. I don't even know
Yeah.
what to say.
Yeah.
Like
I
why
mean,
would you do that with your son's friend?
there's almost an incestuous element to that, right? I mean, when you having sex with your son's friends, man, in the case of a man who has sex with like his daughter's best friend, that's way too close for comfort, ain't it?
I mean, well,
I mean, because
men and
look,
women
look,
they gonna have
let's say
sex.
you're a guy who have to have, or a woman who has to have relations with a boy. You go have that with any boy, but you do that with your son's friend. That's sick on a number of different levels. And I think it is close to some form of I don't know how even if I should use the word, but it's close to that in my view. I mean,
Well,
I couldn't imagine messing. I mean, I couldn't imagine messing with any child, but I couldn't imagine messing with a friend of one of my daughters. Just, I
well
mean,
as
because
a, as a
that's in your daughter's business. That's in your son's business. That's just not just some other kid. I don't know.
well, I'm gonna say this because I know men and women have sex for very different reasons. If a dude has sex with his daughter's friend, I'm gonna think he had sex with her because it was on the table. If a woman has sex with her son's friend, I'm gonna assume that she pursued it. You know, because even if you claim he pursued it, you the grown woman. You're in a relationship with your husband. Like, and then women, with that whole thing about them messing with younger dudes, they supposed to stray away from that anyway. And a lot of women don't dip down to younger guys until they hit certain ages where they can't figure out how they gonna get married. So therefore, you go to a younger guy thinking he'll be a sucker and he'll do it because the men around your age and the guys older won't do it. So they go to a younger guy to as a like a last chance to get what they want. So I mean, they do it for different reasons. But when a woman starts having sex with men in the guy's circle, you know what I'm saying? Because I still look at that as that's your husband, son's friend. You
Hmm.
could have got a guy that wasn't in the circle nowhere. Number one,
Hmm.
you a woman. You don't have to be famous to get a guy to have sex with you. Period. And then the fact that you're a famous woman and you went inside a circle that connects back to your husband, yeah, that was on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like she damaged. In my view, it's like a sabotage of both against both Will and Jaden. Why would you do that? I mean,
Well,
that's
I mean,
some
if you got a
really
problem with men,
that's some. Do you hate your both your husband and your son?
Yeah, I think she hate him because of that movie After Earth. Uh, uh, um,
that
uh,
was
uh, I'm sorry.
nah,
that
I
she was
just
involved in
that was
that. I think she was
that was kind of
involved.
cold.
Well, she got to blame herself for that. I think she was
That was kind of cold. That
Will
was
and
kind of
her were
cold.
executive producers on that one. I think.
That was kind of
uh,
cold.
No, but she could have a problem with men, period. And this is just me speculating, because you had sex with the guy who was going through some type of experience, who was actually looking for help at the time. You had sex with your son's friend, then you had sex on your husband. Like, this don't point to a woman who thinks highly of men.
Yeah. She sounds like a woman who learned very young in life to use men, to use her looks and whatever little charm she may have, or I mean, she has a kind of charm that will work on certain type of men, not present company excluded. But it sounds like she got accustomed to very early in life, kind of manipulating guys. And it's not unique. We've seen girls like her coming up who had a certain particular outsized influence over males, and can kind of easily make their way through life based on that. And you got Tupac, you got Will, you got the Crisscross Kid. You can just kind of hop around, and live very sort of comfortably, uh, just using guys.
Yeah, yeah. You think that? Do you think that crisscross made her jump? I mean, shit.
Yeah, I mean,
Actually,
I mean,
I
but it's
mean,
fucked
it's
up.
bad.
It's fucked. It's fucked up. You shouldn't be messing with anyone underage. But that also depends. Like, we grew up with this view is we got hooked up with an older woman, especially sexually, that and I'm not saying this is for all people, and I'm not saying this is okay, because it really isn't, because you flip around the genders and then you see how you feel about it then. But we grew up with this thing, like, if we had guy had sex with older women, there was sort of a rite of passage. And we have to understand that there is something that is really wrong with that. But at the same time, with dudes that are 15, 16, and 17, they won't admit that they have been victimized. Like, uh, and then there are those cases that guys do, like, they will admit that they've been victimized, like D. Ray Davis. Like, he has a very ugly story about how he was assaulted by two women, and it just
Jeez.
and it affected him mentally so much that he has a problem, like, really a mental hangup about administering oral sex to a woman. You know,
Jeez.
he's
you know
heterosexual,
what? I'm glad he
but
came out
it's
like that.
like, say what?
Jeez.
Yeah,
And it
but
had to manifest in some way, since the women damaged him. I guess
Mm.
karma says, okay, now he can't perform oral sex because a woman has damaged him. That's just crazy. That's just a crazy thought in itself. Because I
Now,
don't
well,
know
how old was
D Ray's
D-Ray
story.
when that
I
happened? Do
think
you recall?
I think D-Ray said he was like 11 or
Oh
12 when
God.
I,
Oh
yeah,
God.
it
Oh.
was,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah. I
And
mean,
were these family members or close
I think they were friends of family.
family? Yeah.
Yeah, friends of
Yeah, I
family.
mean that kind of stuff does happen. And, the vast majority of men are not going to talk about it, and not gonna, and definitely are not gonna talk about it in the context of being a victim per se, because I mean obviously we still very much, the culture is about men being in control, and certainly being in control of their sexuality. So I can definitely understand why men don't go public with that kind of thing. I mean, if you recall the attention that the Antoine Fisher movie got, you know, and a lot of that was about opening a window into a world that we all know is there, right? We all know that world is there, but we've all kind of ignored it, or tipped by it, or we all know somewhere about some woman who was too friendly to some boy, that kind of thing. and the door was closed to a bedroom with a woman, and just just sort of snapshots of images of things that we looking back on it in hindsight, that probably was something illegal going on, but we all kind of blacked it out or ignored it or made light of it. Uh, but what
Well,
we're
I
seeing
I want
here,
to
and
say this
yeah,
because see, men. Yeah, I want to just say that men do see the world differently. So just because a young boy who's 15, 16, 17 years old did not see himself as a victim, in no way stops him from being a victim. He was a victim of statutory rape. He may
yeah,
have enjoyed it the whole time. But the
yeah,
same way a man can have sex with a 15, 16-year-old, 17-year-old girl, and she can enjoy it the whole time. At the end of the day, she's still a victim, whether she realizes it or not. So my
right,
thing is, it's about we don't need to speak in the context of how the man felt about the victimization. It don't make no difference. He was a victim. Period. You know, if you had
mm,
sex with a minor and you were far past the adult age to be able to do so, because I understand there's certain laws about how close you have to be to the age of a minor for you to still have sex with a minor. If you're beyond the age bracket, hey, the person is a victim, and you did something that's a criminal act. It is what it is. So even if the man, if the boy enjoyed it, in no way is he less of a victim than any other girl who went through statutory rape.
Now, unfortunately for Chris Kelly, I think that's the Chris Cross member. Um, he died a few years ago from a
I think
drug
he had some kind
overdose.
of autoimmune deficiency or
Yeah, I
some
mean
yeah, yeah.
he had cancer and he was treated, but he
Mm.
died from a speedball. That's what he
Oh,
died from.
okay, I didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
that's like so rest in peace to Chris.
yeah.
Uh, but Roger's right. I mean, sometimes it is guys that won't admit it, but sometimes it can be a traumatic experience, and young men don't know how to process it, especially if they're too young. Going back like I said, what happened to D. Ray Davis? Like
You mean
he's
11? Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah, that like he was forced to give oral sex to two women, and he said that they were both ugly and they both stunk, and they forced it on him, and
wow.
yeah, so yeah, there's a such
Oh
thing as a
wow,
female predator, and
wow,
the reason
that's
why.
horrific.
Yeah, it is horrific, and the reason why is because that narrative is not out there. They always try to make the men the faces and the figureheads of the abuse narratives and the molestation narratives, and that's why you still have a lot of people that don't know how to deal with that. Because no one, they never were able to deal with it because when it came to a woman doing something, everybody will sit there and they will laugh at you, and then you'll get ridiculed, and you'll get demoralized as a man. I mean, all this stuff. This is very real, and a lot of men can't handle that kind of mental duress. I mean, the feeling of not being able to go anywhere for help. Now, not trying to quote unquote victimize the man, so to speak, but if something happens to a child, then that kind of thing needs to be addressed, and we need to start levying some penalties as far as we are within our group for people who do that, male and female. Now, if a male does it, and likely, okay, say for instance something happened to my family member, and she comes to me and let me and all the males in the family know, guess what's gonna happen? That dude is likely gonna die.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's more than likely, as a matter of fact, and this is a lot of that is why a lot of women don't tell, and
yeah,
a lot of these little dumb feminists and all these little divisive bitches, they won't say it that way.
yeah. A lot of women do keep uh, secret uh, things like that happen. Like that whole, like the thing that went down with with Nicki Minaj's brother. Uh, your daughter's being repeatedly sodomized, and you don't know anything about it. You know, it was the brother, the brother of the victim who told, you know, revealed what happened. You got a daughter, presumably that you love and taking care of and seeing to her physical health. You know, I mean, you know, you got a young girl, young female, presumably certain things you're keeping track of, monitoring. You know, I'm just remembering how how diligent, you know, my wife was when our daughters were young in terms of their health, you know, taking them regular pediatrician uh, visits, and then as they they started to mature, you know, eventually introducing them to uh, OB gynae services. I mean, how does your daughter, how is you as a mother and your daughter is repeatedly raped, and the only one who discovers it is the girl's brother. So there's a lot of these examples of women either like overtly using children or silently allowing certain things to happen, and retaining plausible deniability, if you will, to facilitate, to maintain some relationship with a man. You
Absolutely. No. And they just want to keep that position up to be able to say, no, I did not know. I did not know. I did not understand.
know. Hmm.
You know, because they
Hmm.
do expect men to give them passes. They do have that expectation. You
Hmm.
know, that's why I think
Hmm.
guys we got to start viewing women, you know, the same way we are viewed in our society. Hey, it is what it is. You know, it ain't fair, but it is you.
The man is so called sneaking into the girl's bedroom every night, and you don't know that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
shit.
You
I
know,
mean, you hear those kinds of stories, right? Really? Because my assumption is, first of all, you're sleeping together, which means he's getting out of the bed that you're in, and maybe going into an adjacent bedroom, and you don't know anything about that. This is repeatedly happening. You don't know anything about that.
yeah. I find that very hard to believe, but they'll make the claim,
especially
and we'll make
especially
it.
when they claim especially when they claim to be all observant and so detailed in how
Oh
they
yeah,
observe men.
and
You tell,
intuitive. They got intuition, right?
yeah, they got their
You know,
female intuition,
yeah.
but they don't. They claim they don't know anything about that. The reason why a lot of these child predators get away with this shit is because they always got somebody protecting them that's close. They're always trying to silence the child, like,
Hmm.
and when it's thrown on the men, I get it. A lot of these pedophiles and a lot of these molesters are men, but for black men, the sensible, critically thinking black man, I will say this: if we don't know, we can't help you. See, men don't have that intuition like that. And then usually when we say something's wrong, then I mean, ask if something's wrong. Then it's usually dismissed as none of our business because you know the consequence of telling one of us or telling several of us, especially if you're a lady, if somebody has done something to you. I will always use the example of Maya Angelou. You know, when she was brutally raped and she let the men in her family know, the men that were close to her know, and they went and killed that dude.
Yeah, and that was a common thing back in the day. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there was nothing unusual at all about that. But I want to go back to something you just said, Kevin, and I'm not sure if you're saying this, so pardon me if I'm misinterpreting or maybe my inference is wrong. You said a lot of men are predators or something of that sort, right?
No, 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 no. Well, if I said it and I didn't mean it that way. I said there are.
But no, let
I
me
mean,
well
I don't mean like a
let
lot.
me explain why I'm asking this question because
Yeah.
I'm not inferring that you mean that some great number or percentage of men are predators. That's not the what I'm trying to what the direction I'm going in is how do we know there aren't as many women who are predators as there are men?
Actually,
How do how do
I
we
would
know that?
probably say I would probably say that maybe the majority of predatory behavior come from women, because
Well,
it's
I'm only asking the question like this. I mean, the profile, the Chris Hansen's version of the predator is this creepy guy, right?
okay.
You know, it's
Uh,
like there's this myth of of the the profile of the predator. There's always some skeezy guy, you know, whatever, somewhere living in a some apartment and luring unsuspecting children to his uh his trailer or some shit like that. I mean, that's the myth that has been perpetuated of the profile of the predator. When the
well,
reality is that we don't really know how much predation females engage in.
yeah, that's unknown, and there are females that are highly sexual out there,
Mm-hmm.
and we often dismiss it because that's not our view of women. That's not the view of women that most of us have been taught. I mean, so they can easily fly under the radar, and a lot of kids that who do are victimized usually keep it to themselves because that's the kind of thing that's beat into them as
Look, when
well.
I was growing up, I had several friends who, and maybe it was just the environment I was in. Maybe I don't know. I would have several friends whose mother would parade around nude or almost nude. I
I
don't
was
know if you all had those experiences. Maybe it was,
I
I grew up
have.
in the '60s,
I have.
and,
I
you know,
have. I had a friend like that.
and the friend would be, "Mom, put some on," or grab a towel and put it around his mother. Oh, he done seen this before. You know, it was
Yeah.
like dismissive of it.
Yeah, I had friends who had moms in particular, and sometimes dads as well, but moms in particular that used to keep like nudie magazines
Hmm.
out in the front table.
Yes, on the coffee table. Yes, I
On
had those friends too. I had those
and
friends.
I'm sitting up there like,
Yeah,
now, there's no way these kids are not looking at that.
yeah.
And while you go in the back and do whatever you do or whatever, while they go
Hmm.
around the house playing, they're looking at that stuff. I mean, at least my dad had the decency to hide his,
Yeah.
but you
Well, I
know,
mean, what my best friend, his aunt worked in a she worked at a place where they distributed um, um, nude magazines, and she would give them to us all the time. And she would often be kind of running around in skippy gear, and it was almost like she was. Man, I should be telling this story. It was almost like at times she was looking to see if I was going to be aggressive enough to try to do something.
Exactly. They need you to make the first move so they can have plausible deniability and say, well, everything was fine until he made a move on. But
Hmm.
ain't that what women doing to this day?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
They
yes, yes, yes.
generally they're predatory, but we don't think about it as predatory
But they,
behavior.
but their difference is men are typically hunters, and women are more trappers. You know, men are more will aggressively pursue. Women will create a certain kind of conditions to provoke a response from you and lure you in to hell. you know, and next thing you know, you're involved in some shit that's way above your pay grade, so to speak.
Well,
yeah.
very true. And
Hey,
I just
hey,
want to say this
Roger,
real quick.
real quick.
Go ahead.
Let me
Yeah,
read
go ahead.
this.
Go ahead. I
Let me.
see. Go ahead.
All right, super chat, Gil Gami. Thank you once again. He says, just like defiances occur in prison settings with isolated men, defiances occur with women of the fatherless household of the gynocracy,
Hmm.
lawlessness.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Good
I'd
point.
say I agree with that.
Well, and then where I said earlier, the women walking around knew, yeah, I mean, those would be in situations where there wasn't a father around as much, and there would be, assortments of men kind of coming and going, and I guess I'm using that term in more ways than one. So,
Well, you know what though? You know what? Um, Anybody who knows anything about hunting, who is the predator? The person who goes out and shoots the animal, or the person
mhm.
who goes out and set the trap for the animal? Who's the predator?
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I guess both are right. I mean, if you're setting the trap
Bingo.
to, yeah, yeah.
So the approach that men take, we consider it predatory because we say the men go out and hunt for the prey. Very true. And women
Mhm,
set traps for prey. Also,
mhm,
they put on certain clothes to get our attention. They
mhm,
walk around and take off certain clothes to get our attention. They bat
mhm.
their eyes at us and all that type of stuff. At the end of the day, everybody praying. Everybody who's participating in those events, you're praying on somebody at the end of the day. So my
Well,
thing is,
the woman on the nursing board. I remember her growing up, and she would always hug me in a way, and she was very buxom, and she would always hug me in a way where it was clear she was trying to provoke me to, you know, try to get something going with her. And what was I, like, about 12 at the time? And one of my aunts noticed it, uh, and it got back to my mother. Let's just say that did happen. No more. No more at all. But yeah, I remember she would, and she would always have this very kind of expensive perfume. So it was very, if I were at that time a particularly aggressive uh boy, yeah, I would have probably come try to come by her house. I probably,
hey,
if I
we all
if I
been
kind of
tested,
knew what was going on, yeah, I would have
and
tried
we
to. I would try to come by her house.
yeah, and we all, as you learn stuff and you go back and think about, what you've missed as a man, we've all can see it in hindsight, and we just didn't see it in the moment. But
Hmm.
like me, I don't have this disposition that women aren't predatory because I've been seeing what they've been doing for years, and I just don't view them differently. Um, and maybe because of the family I come from, but women had their clothes on. It was expected for women to have their clothes on. If I'm come over, my auntie's gonna have their clothes on. My auntie's friends gonna have their clothes on. My mama's gonna have her clothes on. My mama's friends gonna have their clothes on. There was never an expectation, even with me as a kid, that I'm gonna get to see a woman that's half dressed. That was no expectation at all. So anytime I was around somebody who wasn't dressed properly, I always seen it as what it was. She doing it on purpose. That's it. It's a very deliberate act, and she's trying to invoke a response. And women like to say, "I wouldn't have did this if this guy wouldn't have did that." So I just seen it as it
Hmm.
was. It's a predatory move because she just set in the trap. That's all. But you
Yeah,
can't tell me a hunter is not a predator if he goes out into the woods and starts setting traps for animals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They
yeah,
they they yeah they set traps. Yeah.
yeah. Gilgami. He said one of the best alibi a criminal can have is an accurate perception their neighbors' social circles have of them. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. People can hide
Hmm.
in plain sight very
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
Oh,
Women
he's
are particularly astute at that particular kind of game that Giogami described. Particularly astute at that because, well, I
on
mean,
a
let's face it.
cultural level. On a cultural level.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and also women are used to wearing disguises. I mean, even makeup, clothing. I mean, they're used to donning, uh, you know, different sorts of garb, creating different sorts of images. You can look at a woman and she can change her hairstyle or whatever, and or her makeup, and look very different. And very often they conduct their business socially, as well, in similar sorts of ways. Where, yeah, I mean, she could be the most, churchified woman, and I mean, like I say, next thing you know, she trying to get you to come to her apartment, Saturday night, you know, and what you doing? And I need you to come and help move some furniture, shit like that. Come by my apartment and help me to clean out my closet. Again, that clean out my closet, it means more.
Well, well,
you know.
I had a friend one time. We worked together. That's how we became friends. And she invited me to come to her place one time because we met up before work. So the first time I go to her actual home, um, when I get to the house, we sit talk for just a couple of minutes. Then all of a sudden, she gets up and go takes a shower. Now, of course, they ended up with us doing something. And
Hmm.
then but we became very good friends, and she just admitted it like down the road. She was like, "Yeah, remember that time I had you come up to the house, and I just got up and took a shower for no reason? What you
Hmm.
think was I was trying to do?" I'm like, "Well, you see how
Hmm.
I responded, so I knew what you was on." You know what I'm saying? But you rarely have women admit that they're being predators too. She was admitting she was being a predator. Look, I set a trap for you. I went and took a shower. I waited for you to get to my house, and then all of a sudden I had to take a shower. And then I
Hmm.
looked at her when I came in there. Obviously, she had already taken a shower. You know what I'm saying? or bathed before I even seen her. So that was obvious. So the fact that she took one, that was cool. You know what I'm saying? And I did wait on her to come out the shower, but once she came out the shower, it was on and popping. You can't come out the shower and talk to me with no clothes on and think ain't something ain't about to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Women are
So
very
well, go
predatory.
go ahead. Yeah.
Women are very predatory, and like I say, they. I had a when I was in grade school, I did the safety patrol. Uh, I was like, you know, I guess the captain of the safety patrol. Very nerd, high grade nerd position, right? But very powerful. I was very very powerful kid.
Gotta talk it up now.
Yeah. And the person who like oversaw the nerd nerd the patrol uh the safety patrol was this rather beautiful, I rather beautiful white woman. She was a gym teacher, and she was very generous, very this was the '70s, man. So it was an interesting time. And I remember one time when I was in her office, um, and I don't know, I was getting it was like she kept the gym equipment, balls, balls and bats and whatever in her office. And I was getting some gym equipment or whatever, and I turned around and she was changing her clothes. She was in when I turned around, she was in her bra and her underwear, and she was just changing her whole. Now I don't know to this day, like I was what about 13 or 14. I don't know why she did that, but when I turned around, she looks up at me and then she laughs and then tells me to turn around. Oh, turn around! Stop looking at me. I
Because she
mean,
wanted to
women.
see.
When you talk about like and then it later came out she was banging the black vice principal, and apparently she was kind of into black guys. So it's like and like I said, she was a beautiful. She was like a classically beautiful blonde white woman. So she was like very popular, if you will. And I just remember that, like, wow.
Bet she
And I
was.
remember telling my friends about it. I remember telling my friends about it. I was like, yeah, and and I always thought, like, in thinking back in hindsight, that was one of those things where, again, that was a trap. That was a see what he gonna what see let's see what he's gonna do type scenario.
Yeah, sometimes we don't recognize the offers when we're very young,
Yeah.
but when we get older, well, that's why I say I guess hindsight is 2020, because we can see it now. We just didn't see it at the time, where you may not want to make a move on it at the time, you may not want to take the risk. It depends on what your level was, how much experience you have with women and things like that, because that might be the very first
I
time
was
you've
not
been in those
I
situations.
was not experienced at all, and I was embarrassed and actually felt bad that I saw her. Now that's how I'm viewing the world back then in my much more innocent state. But that chick was trying to figure out a way in which I was gonna try to fuck her.
Hmm. Yeah, and to kind of to go back more towards your topic, Kev. Now, see, when women do all these different things to go after men, do I recognize that as alpha? No, you know, I don't really recognize them as alphas in those terms. I don't recognize women as alphas in general. I just
No.
don't. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do
I mean,
think
even
it's
in a while, I mean, except for maybe amongst hyena because they are very gynocratic and almost even are physiologically male in some respects. From what I understand, they have an external vagina that's similar to a penis. So I mean, they're like really uh, masculine, even physiologically. But other than the hyena, I mean, I think there is an alpha hyena, but other than a hyena, there's no alpha female in the wild. So it's a fallacious term in even in its inception or conception.
All right. Gil Gummy has a question for you, Black Uru. He said,
Sure.
from childhood to adulthood, I've observed and analyzed my sisters practicing their manipulation, deceptive skills on my father and others. Have you noticed, Elder, at Black Uru Strikes?
Oh yeah, I mean, my daughters have manipulated and seduced and deceived the shit out of me over the years, all the time. I mean, that's how they learn. And here's the thing: it's not really a bad thing because I do think, for survival purposes, the mammalian female has had to develop certain manipulative, deceptive skills is for survival, for their survival and for the survival of the young. I mean, if you're a female and you got to protect this baby in some precarious situations, yeah, you got to know how to manipulate and deceive and whatever. It's not just strictly them being deceptive or manipulative as much as it's about, it's like, a superpower, if you will. Do you use the superpower for good or evil? You can use manipulation skills and create a woman can use the powers of manipulation, seduction, even deception in some respects, and do so to wondrous effects. The woman, for example, who who is overly um, loving to a man or whatever, if you will, even in spite of how she may actually feel about him, or may have more complex feelings about him. But the fact that she can convince him that she loves him and supports him, and he is so moved and inspired by that effort that he goes on and creates wonderful things and creates great charitable endeavors and whatever. Uh, Manipulation and deception in and on itself is not necessarily a bad thing for females. Is when they use it, how often they use it. What's the balance of what they do it for and why they manipulate, why they deceive. I've had like female uh, bosses when I was younger, and they were very manipulative, uh, but to positive effect. They were very seductive, particularly of men. Like I had one female, a black female boss, a while back, going back to shit, the 80s or whatever. And and the interesting thing about her is she always had all male staff, right, working under her, and it actually at some point became an issue for the company. But she at some point she admitted, and you could do that kind of thing back then, where she admitted that where someone asked her, notice all your staff, all the people you hire are men, and she admitted, yeah, that's intentional. And thinking back on how she operated, because she was a fairly attractive woman, fairly tall and svelte, she kind of used her presence and her sexuality and her manipulative skills to a positive benefit for our department and that company. So it's not being a again, women using their wiles per se is not necessarily always a bad thing. It's when they use it, how they use it, what's the end result of what they're doing. That can be very important. I don't look. I don't think it's a bad thing for a woman to lie to a man in some cases if it helps that man to do what he's got to do.
Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna start taking some of that into consideration because I know the young ladies I deal with, I just tell them flat out, don't stop trying to manipulate me. Just, you know what I'm saying? Because if they ask for something, I just be like, man, look, I don't even want to hit the story. What you want? You know what I'm saying? And there's certain things they do where they're trying to ask for something without asking for something, or they're trying to obligate me. Where are you? Am I get responses like, why are you asking a grown man where he is? You know what I'm saying? What you want. That's the only thing that actually matters is what you want. Because no response I give you is going to determine if your request is going to be fulfilled. You know what I'm saying?
But notice, Roger, in what you're describing, the thing that's maybe somewhat different from what I describe it is they have selfish motives. And that's why I said, it depends on what the deception is and manipulation is trying to achieve.
Hmm.
Because if it's purely about them trying to get over, then you're right, right. But
Well,
there
they
will be
they they
times where a
girls, so
woman, I mean, like for example,
no, I'm just saying. Of course, anything going on with them is pretty much going to be selfish at this particular point.
yeah,
They're going to ask for
yeah,
stuff for themselves. So yeah, good point.
yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I mean, a woman can be deceptive, manipulated. She can manipulate circumstances involving you and or involving other people. I thinking back, I know my wife manipulated some scenarios that helped me that I was not aware of while it was going on. But those things definitely helped me. But had I known that she was doing them, I might actually have been antagonistic towards what she was doing. So look, I know, we talk about, trust and, but the world of women to some degree is somewhat intangible and artistic and a little it is not as direct as that of men.
Yeah.
Okay, Roger, go ahead and finish up. Go ahead and finish that
No,
statement.
I just gonna say at the end of the day, they women got to be women.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kev.
All right, all right. Well, listen up, fellas. It's that time. It's time for final statements. I'm tired, and I have two more shows to do. Plus, we're doing good on that Black Dimension. So go and check out my community tab, and if you want to subscribe to your new favorite entertainment channel, go and subscribe to the Black Dimension. We did our Venom Let There Be Carnage review right before I went on the air with this show. So, like I said, always check my community tab out for new and different things. Maybe a new content creator we want you guys to check out also. So that's all I have to say on that. And yeah, more stuff to come on the Black Dimension. But final statements, gentlemen. Black Uru, Roger.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for having me on the channel. Very interesting discussion. Um, I guess what I'll say about the subject matter who inspired this discussion, this stream. You know, they are a symbol of the direction in which we're going. This whole female dominance, alpha female business nonsense. Very much. I mean, on those pictures, and maybe look at the faces of the men and look at the faces of the women. A lot is being communicated. I mean, and sadly, those are very emblematic of all four of those people, especially the women.
Hmm.
And here and this is the really sad part about the women, or the irony or paradox of those women. Those are two beautiful women. Those are two very beautiful women. And the fact that they could be that beautiful, and they're older women, which mean that they really have taken care of themselves, and they've had the resources to do that. So, I mean, obviously they've had help, but still, I mean, they're attractive women. So the sad part about the beauty, or the misuse of the beauty of women is, look, when we see beautiful women, we tend to have an autonomic response to want to help, to want to be associated with, to want to uplift, to celebrate, and laud. So when you see these very attractive women, it's almost like, it's almost like the witch in Sleeping Beauty, where she creates this image, this very beautiful image of herself, in mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest of them all. But behind that mirror is something that looks like something that, one of the witches in Macbeth or something. So as I look at these women, like I say, these beautiful women, I think that they are a symbol of the mirage of the modern woman, particularly the modern Black woman, where you think there is comfort, you think there's nourishment, you think there is life, and is really desolate and dry, and in some cases even death. And I'll end it with that.
All right, thank you, Black Guru, for coming up and being a part of this broadcast. I really
Thanks again
appreciate
for
it,
having me.
and yeah, and you always offer some great words, that make these broadcasts so much better. So, shout out to the elder of the camp of the cool table. So, Roger, what's going on, my habitual line stepper brother?
Well, I'm just gonna say that yeah, women being beautiful does not, or should not, have any man disregard the actions that these women are taking. And uh, I'm gonna say that a lot of sisters need to do something about cleaning up their reputation, because the reputation is, it ain't a good look at the end of the day. You can kind of sum this up, because by saying something that should not be this easy to sum up. Because if you just look at them, you're supposed to, you should be able to say, oh, those are two nice, attractive women. 9 times out of 10, I bet that there's some very good people. But a lot of brothers are gonna see stories like the ones that they have created with Will and Dwayne. And when you start looking at how accomplished they are, yet they're still going through certain levels of BS with women, you know, I'm gonna say, women, make an effort for brothers not to be able to say they are who we thought they were. I'm pretty sure a lot of guys understand what I'm referencing when I say that. But that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. This type of stuff, in far too many cases, it's just like they are who we thought they were, and as that dude said, and we let them off the hook. So even when it comes down to the men, we're gonna have to hold these ladies accountable for certain actions that they're doing. Dwayne definitely needs to hold his woman accountable right away. Will, I don't even know what Will is going to do at this particular point in time. But luckily for them, I do not measure men based on their women. So they still look great to my eyes. I don't measure them based on what their women are doing. But it seems like that statement really applies in this particular scenario. They are who we thought they were. And let's not let them off the hook. And I'm going to leave it right there. Shout out to you, Kev. Appreciate being up here. I'll see you next time around.
Word, Roger. Always, uh, we started this thing out, as a group, and we already know, how we roll, and a lot of our audience knows how we roll too, as far as us as the habitual line steppers. Um, yeah. Uh, shit. I had some really great elaborate final statement to make. Oh yeah, yeah. Here we go. Uh, well, go ahead, Roger. You about to say something?
No, no, no. I was chuckling because that does happen sometimes. You come up with the most profound thing of the night, and then next thing you know, you done lost it. So yeah, it can happen anyway. But go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I gained it back and I lost it again. Uh, oh yeah, yeah. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. There's this thing that black men don't leave Hollywood fame, success cleanly. They're not. We're not allowed to leave without some type of controversy. And for the brothers who seem to be the most reputable, that they really can't find anything on, it seems as if there is some type of effort to use the women in our lives. I mean, well, in their lives, because, we're talking about famous people right now, to kind of do that when they don't have any type of deviancy against them. Now, for the brothers who are foolhardy that fall into the deviancy, which, in context, it wasn't deviancy when it first happened, but for some reason it became deviancy. Of course, if you're wrong, especially somebody like R. Kelly, then of course, yeah, you deserve to be punished and you deserve to be exposed for everyone to see. But Dwayne Wade and Will Smith are not those kinds of guys in particular. At least their public personas haven't presented such. And what by these two people that are on the screen, that really proves that that it doesn't matter how successful you are. It doesn't matter, what contributions you have made to the culture and to society, is that respect and submission is an absolute 100% fucking choice. And the fact of the matter is, for black men to leave fame and fortune, having a position of prominence at one point, at a major point in their careers, is this seems to go along with it. If they can't humiliate them off some stupid shit that they do, then they're going to use their women. And our women, they have like, if they can't dominate, then they go into this little, they go into their little fragilities, just like these two women. Like the Smiths have, of course, made their difficulties public, but I'm quite sure from the way Gabrielle Union has been flaking and having all these headlines in succession for the past few weeks, there might be some trouble in that sense as well. Dwayne Wade probably keeps this kind of thing in mind, that he is a black man and a public figure, so it's pretty easy to make someone like him look bad despite everything else. And this right here is something that we as black men, we can't slip on this. We always got to keep these kinds of things in mind. I don't know what kind of relationship you guys have with your women out there, but as far as Holly Weird goes, it's not looking very good for the brothers. It really isn't. And if you are a actual critically thinking person, you have to take that one thing into consideration. We so often easily throw each other under the bus so much, especially the men, that we forget stuff like that. And at the end of the day, when I give my perspective, the overall message in these situations right here is just to do better. You don't you can't really feel conscious about somebody saying something and it's absolutely 100% facts. So at the end of the day, we have to do better. And just one more thing before I play this play the closing, which is the opening. So just whatever. One more thing, we can't rely on celebrities for our characterizations. We can't, because if you're trying to live vicariously, or you're relying on celebrities to establish our cultural characterizations, especially in 2021, then you're going to be putting us in even a deeper clusterfuck than we're supposedly in right now. So, and I mean, like, just look at these people. Look at how they spew themselves all over the media. So, that's pretty much it for right now. Please, for those of you who are watching and those of you who are going to catch the playback, yeah, please join me tomorrow night and Monday night. I am on every Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night. Granted, I don't get drunk with family members or something like that. So, anyway, thanks for absolutely thank you for tuning in. Make sure on the way out, press the like button. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. I gained a few subs tonight, and I'm promising you won't regret it. So, long live the habitual line steppers. In Kev we trust. Uh, See you guys tomorrow night, and continue to be brutally honest.